Timeout times have changed a little bit. They could well still be a bit of an obstacle to get through, but I think Wildcard are certainly going to make this tough for them. Pretty much a 50-50 split, Tim.
Yeah, that social prediction doesn't surprise me in the slightest. It's exactly the same as what's going on in my brain right now. Which one is going to win this? I have absolutely no idea. The only thing I'm hoping for is a big 3-map stairs.
I sure hope we get it, Tim, but the match is ready. Let's lock and load and get ourselves into Clubhouse. One of the things we've really got to appreciate, Tim, actually, is this stage. How beautiful is it?
When we came in, there's been like a few sort of mentions from us along the way of how good it was, and like when we came in and first saw it and like saw the graphics and the the water washing across and everything, I was just absolutely blown away.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful stage for a beautiful game. Let's get into our operator bans first and foremost. Kite and Bandit looking likely to follow as the first two. There we go. And Double Hard Breach on the other side. Was looking through their banning tendencies on this map in particular, and this basically is following the pattern they've gone with all along. Double Hard Breach, double electrification ban.
When we look at how these two teams have performed so far here in Munich, they've both been, I think it's fair to say, a little shaky on the attack.
Shaky? They're the two worst teams left in the tournament, Tim!
I'm trying to be kind! They're a little bit shaky on the attack, but both of them actually fare very well on the defense. 4th and 5th place. Wildcard 4th, NIP 5th overall in the tournament. So we've got a real battle here to see who can take those better attacks. If you can come out here today and really excel on that side of the game, it feels like you could well walk away the winner. It's going to be NIP that start things off for us on Clubhouse, and if we look at them historically, it hasn't been good attacking on Clubhouse either, Des. 36% win rate for NIP, so a lot of work for them to do here. They need to be targeting a minimum 2 rounds in this first half. 2 would be acceptable for them, 3 even better, but Wildcard have got a real opportunity to come into this one and deal a bit of a hammer blow to start with a 5-1, 6-0, dare I say, first half on defense and send a message.
What is going to make it hard is these two teams are in our top 4 across the entire tournament, though, for defensive win rate. So we've been joking about this comparison throughout the event a couple of times, Tim, but it's very much a movable force against an unstoppable object, or whatever the hell the saying is you want to go for. It's going to be hard to break through either way. You've got the extended hold coming out here up on the gym bedroom defense from Wildcard. You've seen this a million times, but if you haven't, defenders play 2 or 3 players out towards the cash and CC side of the map. Attackers have then got a choice. Do we try and work our way through and clear it out so they can then comfortably use South Balcony, or do you put all your focus, all your eggs in the jacuzzi wall basket? And so far for NIP, they're very focused on this side of the map, Tim.
Just going to be keeping that tight angle through there. I think hoping to just maybe pick a cheeky one up onto a defender as they try to have a little bit of a look there. Nitro comes out, shot out. Love that from NIP. Just that attention to detail, that readiness to support their fellow teammates and make sure that they're not going to be losing anything important like the thermite. As it is, Pino gets the job done. He manages to get that breach off. Hatch is open. This is good progress from NIP so far.
This is beautiful. They've just smoked out as well on towards the CC window. So Bay, despite having that control, can do nothing to stop this. They're running in, but Cans and Shotgun, it's a bit too much, Tim. Dash bringing down his fellow countryman. Cons at least getting something going as Pino doubles up, but they've still got work to do, Tim. It looks like Wildcard might just hold on. Now they're in this 2v1.
Yeah, Pino's got a really difficult situation here, given that the Clash is still on board. There's not going to be an opportunity likely to get Kansan picked up, but that doesn't really matter too much. It's all about now, are they going to go for it? He's gone for it as well. Pino has given him the space. 1v2 became 1v3. This just got a lot harder.
Oh, Spiker the rat down on his belly. It was a good play by Pino there. He had no choice. He had to fight into that 1 versus 1. Otherwise, he knew there was a Kansan flank along with Bay coming up from the bottom of main stairs. But it was a great play by Wildcard overall. I like the attempt there because we so often speak about needing cash CC control to be able to play on the South Balcony. If defenders hold cash CC, they control the window, they can see everyone on South Balcony. You aren't able to then look at sight. But their response to that was to smoke off that window and then drop onto the balcony. They really only gave themselves 7 or 8 seconds while that smoke was in effect to be able to use the South Balcony. But as said, Cans and Shotgun just a little bit too strong in the moment. We're now going to find ourselves going down to the basement. And Tim, I'm sitting on my other view here that there is only one player downstairs right now. They have all scattered upwards to go and get set up on the top floor.
I think it's absolutely the right thing. When we're looking at a team like NIP that have struggled a little bit, as we've said, on the attack, not just here at the tournament, but historically on Clubhouse, play into the map, give them problems to solve, waste their time, make them fight you 1v1 if you can, isolate those attackers by spreading them out. So I love this setup from Wildcard. We'll see if that's how it all shakes out once we get into the true action phase. But at the moment, yep, you've got 4 of them off-site. Spiker just holding down things, but do NIP spot an opportunity there and decide to just get themselves on in?
It's been the timeless question, hasn't it? Ever since this strat or this kind of 3-floor roam came thing through the SSG roam all those years ago, there's been a lot of iterations on it, a lot of developments, teams trading things up, trying to cover up for weaknesses or find slightly different ways to play it to confuse people. And I think here playing upstairs, yes, it does invite the chance for you to go hyper-aggressive, but for NIP, the fact they're running around the Monty here, we've got the IQ, of course, of sniffing out utility. They want to clear out the top floor. And the good thing is here for Wildcard, they can afford to trade players all day long with the attackers because attacking into this basement, you do need as many players up as you can. Of course, that's the case for, well, every site in the game. But I think here especially, you have so many angles to push through. As we saw in the last round with just Jacuzzi to work through, they couldn't get an awful lot done. So the more they lose out on the roam here, the more that's going to benefit Wildcard.
I like this lineup from NIP. It's like a real sort of lineup of 2 halves. You've got Cons and Pino, who are going to be the ones focused on clearing the roamers. And then when it comes later in the game, you've got Wizard and Hates, who are going to come into their own when it's time to execute. You've got the Grim, you've got the Ying, you've got the utility that you need. But right now, it is all about that roam clearance. If we have a look, they've still got Bay up on the top floor, supported by Baby Shark. There is a fight to be had up here, and it's going to be Kansan backing his teammates up with a big nitro from below. Great utility use from Wildcard, and NIP have just wandered on into the trap, but Hates does have an answer.
They've just focused everything on this top floor, though, Tim, which means the C4 from Kansan could work out. They have got the response on him in the end, but it feels like they're playing reaction games here the whole time. Bay looking really in danger here. Pino stepping across. A bullet to the body enough to finish off the very low HP Bay. And finally, NIP have got control, but Tim, they're down to a 4v2. Wildcard are still fighting them all around the map. It's a 2v4, 70 seconds to work with. This is looking good for NIP, but look at Baby Shark. This is so risky. Typically, you fall back here, but he wants to go aggressive again.
If he manages to take a bite out of NIP here, it could be trouble for the Brazilians. Baby Shark, he's at home in water, takes 2 down. Dash manages to find Hates, diffuser down on top floor, and what was a winning situation for NIP has just fallen apart around them. They found themselves in the deep end in a heartbeat, Des.
It was 4v2, Tim. The number of times we have seen teams lose 2-man advantage rounds has been crazy this event. Here he is again, though, Baby Shark looking for the 3rd, and he finds him as well. The Frenchman leaving himself out on the roam there. NIP not doing their due diligence. They pay the price in round 2.
And this is exactly what I think we're going to continue to see from the attacking here today. It could be, like I say, a real battle of who can get those rounds over the line. But NIP, you've got to look at that situation, Des, and say your attacking rounds are probably going to be few and far between. You better take the ones where you're 4v2 up. And the problem for NIP there is there's just not enough due diligence to the intel side of the game. They got caught out on drones, yes, but they've let somebody slip through them. They've not been fully aware of how much they were dealing with up on that top floor, where everybody was, what position they were in, and whether, most importantly, Des, they were all accounted for. And they were not. Baby Shark played that absolutely beautifully. And a team, Wildcard, they are 2-0 up.
I will say the attack started very well for NIP. They were close to doing it. They just ignored Baby Shark, and he chewed him up and spat him out. In dark waters sometimes, Tim, sharks do come a-circling. Now we go to Cash and CC to round out this first quarter. Would expect an NIP tack timeout to follow. We often see it after the end of round 3 when we completed the 3-site rotation. But I'm looking at their lineup here, Tim, and this could be a little bit spicy. We've got that Rower on side, we've got the Capital for getting into Garage, you've got the Glaz. They're really looking to try and make this a set-piece execute, I think, which probably entails first getting rid of Spiker and that Azami playing inside of Garage.
Yeah, that's going to be the key position. Need to clear out Catwalk, need to get the breach open. If you're pushing from the Garage side, that's what you want to be doing. Once you've got those 2 things, somebody holds a line of sight from that half ceiling straight across. They keep everybody out of CCTV, and then from Catwalk, you push in and get the diffuser down. You just need one underneath to keep a hold of lounge. So they're the 3 tick boxes that NIP are looking for. Breach open open with a person watching it, garage control with somebody on catwalk with diffuser in hand, one underneath in lounge. If they can secure those 3 things, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to get a plant down and be aggressive in this round. But Wildcard, of course, they're going to be doing everything they can, and this is the battle that we will watch, particularly Spiker on catwalk. When they start pushing there, how long can he hold on for?
I think they were trying to deny it away there with Spiker's impact, but just couldn't quite find it. Twice now we've seen them try to keep these walls locked up, making use of the mirror to do so. There's constant battle of utility back and forth. Obviously, so far, NIP have done a pretty good job of making sure they've gotten what they need. Every single wall inside of construction being opened up. They've got the main breach, and normally, Tim, that next step now would be starting to look at Spiker inside a garage. But hates yet to step across the start, laying down fire. Really needs his teammates to come in underneath here and start committing utility up to flash Spiker out, put him under pressure. They believe they can do it all from here, but with the double reinforced wall towards his left, this won't be too easy.
They've just taken a big loss there, losing players, NIP, out on that breach. There was 3 of them playing there without any real need to be there, Des, and they've been punished. Kansan just wandered out of Cash Door. That's exactly where they're supposed to be holding. And he walks out and gets the kill onto Fantasy, and then it all crumbles and falls apart. We find Hates now. He's just hoping somebody will give him something, but just as the round started, it finishes. Kansan steps out, picks up that final kill. Great defense from Wildcard, but I've got to ask questions of NIP there. 3 of them stood on the breach. Once it's open, Des, you need 1. You just need somebody there holding that CCTV door, holding that swing through from top red stairs. That's all. You don't need 3 of you there. You're giving them opportunities. And Wildcard, they were more than happy to gobble up those opportunities.
Not too surprised to see our 3rd hard breacher taken away in the Thermite, leaving only the Maverick on the table, plus of course our tin openers. But Tim, it's an NIP timeout.
Vou precisar de muita calma a partir de agora disso, tá ligado? Porque eles estão mudando algumas coisas que a gente não tá conseguindo fazer nossos planos direito, entendeu? Então, mano, vamos, por exemplo, eles estavam comida agora do server, não dá pra fazer porque eles tinham 2 reforços garagem e não 1. Sim. Demorou? Então, mano, vamos resetar tudo e a gente vai ter que voltar pro nosso plano padrão. De baixo, acho que a gente faz a pressão com montanha e Twitch ali. Demorou? Independente se for recuado ou não. Porque pelo menos a gente faz os caras se movimentarem, a gente consegue dominar em cima rápido. Demorou? Sim. No bombe da garagem, acho que a gente faz, se eles reptirem, faz um domínio da construção. Se tiver clash, a gente faz aquele rolê lá do Contos, só beitar a montanha, ou troca você e o Hates pra a gente manter uma Maverick na tua mão, tá ligado, Contos?
Tá.
E na academia a gente faz esse mesmo rolê, acho que a gente começa a fazer os splitados, tá ligado?
Tá.
Just looking, of course, you know, the tactical timeout coming in, I think, you know, absolutely on time for NIP there. 3 sites down without a win. It's time now to really start trying to change things. But we were just having a look at the leaderboard as we were sat in there, and Kansan 6-1 at the minute. He's going big, but the beautiful thing that Wildcard have got going, they've kind of got these 2 groups of players, if you look at it. They've got Kansan and Dash particularly, really experienced. You know, they've been in these situations, played tons of competitive games. You've got then, you know, players like Baby Shark who are maybe newer to this kind of environment. He's up there 3-1 and doing great as well. So it's like both sides of the team are playing off each other and, you know, are gaining something from the other. It's absolutely beautiful synergy for Wildcard at the minute.
Well, we've actually got Maria, I believe, who can translate for us what we just heard there during that timeout. Maria, what you got for us?
He said, I really need you guys to be calm from now on. They are changing a lot of things, so that's why we can not do our thing. Let's reset everything. Let's do Montagny and Twitch so they can move around and we dominate it fast. Let's start doing a split. That's what he said.
Thank you very much, Maria. It's so lovely having her around to translate these. She's been doing it all event for us, bless her heart and soul. But I was going to say, one thing that I kind of felt was missing from that timeout then was actually the very one-dimensional focus of NIP in 2 of those 3 rounds. The first round, it was pretty much a Hail Mary in towards Jacuzzi. In that previous round, well, like you say, it was 3 players on breach and a little bit of distraction going on inside a Catwalk. There was never an attempt to actually take control of Catwalk in the first place, though. So Spiker was just very happy, sat there like, okay, I guess I'll challenge the Capitao and then I can try and help my team if needed. Never mind, they've already won the game. NIP aren't giving Wildcard enough things to think about, and so it's very easy for the North American side to say, well, this feels very predictable. We know what to do about this, and so far, they've done it brilliantly.
Of course, seeing the Maverick now that the Thermite has been banned out, we also see the mirror taken away. No surprise, Kansan was playing the mirror, is 6-1, and deciding that they want to be, you know, finding a little bit of an easier way into sight here at NIP. So Maverick will do the job. Good stuff from Cons straight away. Gets the reinforcement off. That wall can now be opened, and the breaching and pressure will continue. If you remember back to round 1, this was actually, I think, NIP's best attack that we've seen so far from them. Was the top floor. They had a real chance of doing it. They got catwalk quickly, which they've done again. Wizard is in there, as we can see. And if they can get, particularly Bay moving on the clash, back across the construction, force him deeper, there's some definite space for NIP to be found.
The key difference for me, Tim, is the fact they're actually pushing this side of the map. They ignored it last time and just smoked off the window and said, oh, that's plenty for us. We don't need much more. Spike has been picked off downstairs in Sora storage as well. Cons he's been a busy boy so far, Tim. Getting the main breach open, of course, then moving over towards construction breach, and then finally getting the entry. Bay getting one back, not making it easy for NIP to fight into this extended hold.
Yeah, this is the real problem. Look at the utility he's got around him to keep him in place. Barbed wire, 2 Vulcan canisters. He's going to pop the first one now to prevent the push coming up the stairs. It's Fantasy who's going, chasing it. We know he's had a great tournament so far. There are kills for him to find. He's on the Deimos. He could throw in the track as well. But for now, he's just going to run through the fire and flames, but he's going to manage to find Kansan as he does. Bay was there slightly late on the trade, but does find it. Dash got one along the way as well. 3v1 as Dash doubles down and finds hits. This is all going in favor of Wildcard despite that tactical timeout. NIP have got no answers to the North American defense.
It's a little bit piecemeal from NIP for me still, Tim. Yeah, Wildcard, brilliant job on the extended hold. When they lost players, there was always someone there to secure a trade. But NIP, you've got Fantasy pushing up red stairs by himself. He gets a kill, all right? 5 seconds later, there's another player jumping inside of sight in Hates. 5 seconds later, there's Pino finally pushing in on the Cash CC side. It's just, again, a little bit solo for me. They're either grouping up and only pushing one angle, and we've already seen how that works out, or they're trying to do the separate style of play where they are just not in sync. And you can see why. They're one of the teams that have got the lowest attacking win rate of the competition so far, is that it's just not quite coming together here on Clubhouse. We go down to the basement. Last time Wildcard played this full 3-story roam. You might see 1 or 2 out on the roam this time, Tim, but I do expect we'll see more of a turtle setup this time around.
Well, let me just tag on to that point that you've made there as well, Des. So far at the tournament, NIP only have a 2% trade rate on kills. Very rarely are they in positions to support each other as a team and to get those trades. It is very, very rare, and that is something that Wildcard are taking advantage of here. You're going to get opportunities against NIP to isolate them, to get those kills and to use that man advantage. NIP, by contrast, they've had a lot of successful clutches in terms of the competition, but you don't want to be in those positions. You don't want to be having to take those opportunities in 1vx's. And so NIP, that's something they need to work on, and they need to work on quickly. Working together. Who's my duo? Who's my buddy? Who am I going in there and affecting the death of if they do take a death? Where am I? How am I able to create a crossfire? All questions that NIP need to be answering very quickly.
Well, let's see if they can improve things here, Tim. We have got that Monty coming out here for Cons. We heard them speaking about it during the TAC timeout, thanks to Maria's translation, that playing the Monty is a good way to shore things up, give you something to focus around as a team. But again, I do not want to see them all trying to hit the same angle behind the Monty. It's not a case of they all line up in a line of 5 and push forward together. Absolutely not. Especially on this site, like we said last time we were there, you need as many players as possible for the execute. You want to be hitting blue, a moto drop, kitchen at the same time. Might be a player coming down through main stairs. There's 4 or 5 angles that you can hit all at the same time to try and overwhelm the opposition. But if they don't do that, it's going to be very readable for the North Americans.
Exactly what we would expect, I think, from Wildcard here as one of the better defensive teams in the tournament. They've come out with a completely different plan this time. They are all down in the basement. They've turtled up. They've got their utility, and they're going to give NIP a little bit of time. They're kind of putting that proposition to NIP. Here's an opportunity for you guys. Come and attack us. Show us what you can do. We're not going to fight you out in the map. We're going to give you a little bit of time. We're going to give you the opportunity to set up because we're confident that we can hold you back when you do eventually start pushing. We're going to see the Toxic Bear go out to create the space for that final reinforcement to be hit down in sight. 1 minute 10 left to go. NIP, progress is okay so far. They're just now getting the hatches open. They've still got the Ying, they've still got the Grim, they've still got the Monty. Those are the 3 operators to keep an eye on because that's going to be the focus for getting this diffuser down inside of sight.
They're still trying to figure out exactly what they want their push to be here as well, Tim. Like, Cons has been a little bit, do I go towards blue? Do I hold round towards bar? Is Kitchen the right play? Feels like now they're starting to pull this plan together as we get into the last 45 or so. Fantasy's already got himself dropped down here, realizing that it's perfectly safe to be at the bottom of main here, to work his way around Moto. He's made that first play, but now the rest need to follow.
You feel like Fantasy needs one of those big moments for his team here, where he goes in, gets the 2K, gets the 3K, just really opens up a bit of space. Spiker is going to be taken down by hits. That's the smoke off the board, so any remaining Toxic Babes go with him. Dash needs to be careful. He's taking a ton of damage. They've lost the Echo as well. This is winnable for NIP. They cannot, I repeat, cannot let this round go, Des. The Candelas are going to go in. Monte is looking for the plant.
Looking much better here. No one able to stop, I don't think, unless they can get in close, but there's just too much cover. Wizard behind AKs as well. A flawless round for NIP. A much better attack coming out there. Hates with the 2 kills that he got from the kitchen hatch. A beautiful start.
I think, you know, Wildcard there, I don't disagree with what they've done. They've mixed it up. They've gone for a different plan. But there's a bit of me, and hindsight's always 20/20, there's a bit of me that looks at it and says, if getting out in the map and roaming worked so well, maybe give it another go. You know, maybe see if NIP can answer it at the second attempt. But when given space, the thing is now, Wildcard have only got one more defensive round left, but we need to see them learn from that immediately. They've given them space, it hasn't worked. NIP have been able to pick them apart. They've been able to go in, use their utility well. That gives Wildcard the answer now. You know, where are their strengths on attack? We've just seen them. Where were their weaknesses when we get up in their face and fight them? Let's go and do that. And given the score passes on the board, I think that's exactly what we're going to see from Wildcard.
Yeah, a little bit more mobility for sure. I don't expect we're going to see them full roaming like we've seen before, but Bay's definitely going to be out there looking to cause a spot of bother. Spiker could do the same on the Goya. We always say that once those canisters are down, you're a free gun. You've got a Vector. You might be very slow and very, very loud as an operator, but you are a free gun with a headshot machine for a weapon. So never a bad thing to go out there and keep the opposition busy. And look at this team, actually. 3 of them upstairs, making use of the mute jammers to keep walls locked down. No doubt as well, looking to try and slow down droning or intel gathering. NIP were very, very good at pushing and clearing the top 4 last time. They got to that 4v2. It was Baby Shark that they ignored, who got a 3K off the back of it and completely destroyed any chance of them winning that round. So let's hope they don't find themselves missing out on Rats. Tim, call in Pest Control and get rid of them.
That's exactly going to be Fantasy's task. He's gone in there with the SMG, just looking around that top floor, and he does what he always does. Manages to pick up Baby Shark with a great entry, so that is now advantage NIP, and it mounts the pressure onto Bay, onto Kansan. They need them to do something out on that roam to waste a little bit of time, because otherwise what they're going to have is the same situation as the last round, but with a man down as well, and that would be a big ask. As it is, Bay's dropped away and now brought himself back up into a different location. He's just looking to back up Kansan and Dash at the minute, who are still outside of the site. A minute wasted so far, but a life lost. I think NIP have a good advantage in this round.
You'd hope so, Tim. I'm always keeping an eye on the clock. I know it's early on. It's not time to talk about how low the clock's running, but there's a lot for them still to do. Yes, they've got a good grasp on it, but if they spend too long clearing through this map, it's going to hurt them. With the lineup they've got, they should be able to get it done. You've got a lot of fast pace with the Dockerbee, with the Blitz, for example. They can push into Wildcard, but we've seen them do that a couple of times and be utterly destroyed on the march on forward. Yes, they got rid of one, just as a player appears inside a garage with a little bit of cover. Got to watch out for the window. We had the Clash there as well, ready to give some cover, but now they've lost Kansan as well. I'm with you, Tim. This is NIP's round for the taking.
The damage is always done to a roaming team when they try to get back to site. That is your biggest weakness, and NIP have just punished them beautifully. They're going to get in now and start opening up those hatches. They've got a ton of time. We saw it in the last round. It was about exactly the same. It was 1 minute 12 in the last round remaining when they got that first hatch open. This time it's 1 minute 10. So NIP, they're not going to be panicking about the clock in the slightest. They've got the Grim, they've got the Blitz, they've got the Glass, they've got everything that they want to be able to put this plant down. They've still got one Dockerbee Cole left and a ton of smokes as well. Wildcard, you better believe, are backs to the wall right now, Des. The question is, can one of them put a foot against the wall, brace themselves and push back?
Looks like main stairs might be the place. We've got Cons and Fantasy working their way forward, off towards Kitchen as well. So again, like I said in the last round, you've got a few angles that you want to cover off. And I can almost guarantee Wildcard are not going to let 3 players die to the same hatch this time around. They have to be aware of that kind of stuff going on. You've got Hates on blue as well, off towards one side, looking to put some threat down with the Glass all the way through in towards Church Wall itself. And the smoke is down here. He can now start challenging forward. Must see Bay in the back corner. Sure enough, he does. Doesn't want to kill his teammate in the process, but Bay is gone. A 4 versus 2. Wildcard, if they can hold it for 5 seconds, they will stop the plant going down. They could do this. They get another one, but Fantasy, that diffuser is going down. They've pushed deep and got rid of one more. It's a 1v3 for Dash, and I don't think even he can pull off that one. Hates 2 kills to close.
A good couple of rounds from NIP there. Beginning of the game, I commented how I think 2 rounds were a minimum for NIP, given their attacking stats at this tournament. That's where they needed to be focusing. Anything more would have been even better, but let's be honest, the way those first 4 rounds went and how dominant Wildcard were, I think NIP would be quite happy with the way the half has ended there. It's a little bit of a steal coming and getting those last 2 rounds, and if you're only going to win 2, win 5 and 6. Carry that momentum into your defensive side. It was looking very one-sided for Wildcard 3 rounds ago, Des. It's definitely not anymore. I would even suggest NIP might be in the driving seat now.
May well be, Tim. We'll find out when this half gets underway. Bans have come on through pretty quick. The Kaid and the Mirror disappearing. Of course, we saw the Mirror for the first 3 rounds of the game. NIP then opting to take it away. On the other side, hard breach bans were all the rage for the attackers. It is the same here. Only Maverick and Hibana left on side, which, not the end of the world. Hibana, Queen of Hatches, as she was once declared. Very, very capable, of course, of doing that on this map where there are a lot of hatches you have to worry about attacking downstairs. Let's see how Wildcard can do that, Tim. I think NIP probably feeling pretty confident, as you say. Those last 2 attacks, very, very good stuff. I just think for Wildcard, they've got a bit of a battle to work their way through.
Hits has really stepped up for his team as well. 8 and 4 he currently sits at the minute. He really is driving them forward. The one I'm looking at, and I don't want to single people out, Fantasy 3 and 4. The reason that I mention it, Fantasy has been so instrumental to this team, not just today, but over the years to any team he's been on. I remember, I think it was SI21 in Paris, and it was like Fantasy's first big kind of international moment. And I remember when he came through, there was a couple of tweets from like European players saying basically European ranked is not safe right now because Fantasy is, and he was just absolutely ripping through the online servers before the tournament kicked off. And it was, you know, from then on he has been one of these players that is dangerous, that can turn a game on its head. And you're just looking at the minute, we quite often see it where maybe players are a little bit quieter on attack and they come to life on defense or vice versa. I'm hoping that's going to be the case for Fantasy here, and we can see him really start to get some pace behind him.
Not too sure how much you'll see him floating around in the Warden, but he's anchoring down top red right now, expecting this push to come on through. See Spiker getting to work on this main wall. That's now been made soft. They can blow it open and then start focusing on this work through. Now, we spoke about this back in the first half. NIP, at least in 1 round, ignoring this push on this side. The second round, they tried to break it and could not do so. Hates getting some good damage down to Kansantin, but that really should have been a kill.
Just going to see the pressure continue from Bay on the breach here. Just again, don't want to overcommit. They've got Spiker. He's out there on the rappel. That's his job. He's got diffuser in hand, so they need to be aware of that as well. You really want him to be delivering that into Catwalk so that they can move through with it and then start that push across.
Cheeky.
Fantasy is going to be the one, though. I said they needed him. Takes down Kansan, but Spiker is there for the trade. That's it, Wildcard. Need to get decisive now and start moving. Hits is still underneath, which is a problem, as Pino manages to pick up bait as well. So 4 versus 3, NIP holding on pretty well, but just keep an eye on the location of that Solis. He's kind of up and down between basement and first, and he's going to be there for a late flank, maybe a little bit of denial. We'll see.
They have at least now got the control they wanted on South Balcony, so you can see Baby Shark setting up. Hates is off a mile away, by the way, off towards Strip right now. Probably wants to get back and start joining his team for if the execute does come on through. Of course, the Solis able to see when that diffuser is going down. Wizard going low here as we're asking questions on the door, Tim, but there are still more defenders alive than there are attackers at this point, so Wildcard the ones that have got to figure this one out.
The DMR of Twitch just absolutely chewing through those Kiba barricades. None available now for Pino to be able to replace them. So once they're taken out, that defense is significantly weakened. Spiker, I think he knows that there's somebody on the peak, but does he know that it's a shotgun? Baby Shark manages to pick up hits. It gives a little bit of space because Wizard, he has to pay attention elsewhere. There's an opportunity to pick up the Blackbeard. Wildcard might just be building the momentum that they need here, Des.
So again, we've gone from a 4 versus 2 essentially, now down to a 3 versus 2 for Wildcard. Wildcard into a triple kill for Spiker in the round. Brilliant round that he's having here. All the utility work done early on has then converted it into 3 kills, got a teammate up, and now that shield is bearing down on them. Baby Shark taken out, but Spiker completes the 4K. Huge round for him, and a massive one for Wildcard, Tim.
Far too many kills going down against NIP without being traded out. They are playing consistently at a man disadvantage, and it is beginning to really take its toll on them. They need to be working together, I've said it already, as a team to make sure that they're in position to be able to impact should they lose a teammate. We saw it there perfectly how Wildcard used it. The position inside of Logic. Striker didn't push forward too soon. He waited for that other kill to come in, and he knew that it was going to turn the back of the player with the shotgun that was facing up against him, so he didn't have to take that CQC at a disadvantage against the big shotgun. Really well played, smart from Wildcard. I said coming into this it could be a battle of who attacks the better, but ultimately I think right now, after one round of attack, that looked much better from Wildcard.
That's what makes you a little bit worried for NIP. You've just now lost the first defense you've tried to play out. Now going to Cache CC, many would consider this the tertiary site on this map, the one that you don't want to go to. Typically gym bedroom, then down to the basement, and then off towards Cache CC. We even saw it skipped in round 6 to go back down to the basement. I worry here, NIP could find themselves staring down the barrel of a 4-round disadvantage with a lot to recover. Unless they can work a bit of magic. Hate's just constantly giving them something to think about. It was the Solus previously, it's the Clash in this round. He's being a bit of a nuisance, Tim, but not enough that it's really upsetting Wildcard.
Yeah, just really playing those disruptors, those operators, like you say, that are going to make it super difficult to go in and just play the game you want to play. It's something that you always need. It's kind of like having a wasp in the room. It's like when there's a clash, you've always got to be kind of aware of where it is, because otherwise it could be a problem. So still 5 versus 5 as we get ourselves 40 seconds in. Spiker's going to reapproach that breach and get it opened up to be soft at least. Baby Shark will then be able to come in with the shotgun and clear that out completely. I want to see Wildcard not over-committing to this breach. NIP fell foul of it, and it really hurt them. Once you've got it done, leave somebody on there, move on to your next step.
That's the second player that's now lost half their HP to Pino, being an absolute rat on his belly, watching through the soft wall here to tag out players. First it was Spiker, and he was on the Maverick, like, oh, don't know where that came from. Baby Shark's then gone and got hurt in exactly the same way, and I'm just like, guys, it was the same in the first half when we had the hatch play coming out of Hates. No one spoke about it. He got 3 kills from that spot. We've just got to be aware of these little things that are happening and communicate them to each other that little bit better.
Just fighting again against that Azami utility. I wonder whether we'll see from Wildcard once they get their additional ban. Maybe Azami will be a little bit of a focus there. We're going to have the Candelas going in. Toxic Babe canister really well timed though, because it's meant that that utility has been somewhat wasted. There's no ability to be able to follow it in. However, it's creating a lot of noise. It's creating an opportunity elsewhere as they jump in through the window. Spiker has diffuser in hand. He's going to try to put this down, but it's 4 versus 3. NIP, they may be able to impact it here, and they do, Des.
Faye's been trying to give cover from Garage, but there's only so much that he can do. Gets a double though, finding Fantasy. I don't think they realized or communicated where he was here. Now down to a 2 versus 2. These situations have been so unpredictable throughout the game so far. The big advantage for NIP is that nuisance we spoke about. Hates on the Clash. He can just park himself in a corner, feed information. So we're going to have to see Wildcard get really creative here.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to single out and kill the other player exactly as they have done. By taking down Pino, they can now double up on Hates. So he's got a big problem. He's got one either side. Beautifully dealt with. Wildcard recognizing the problem, finding the solution and just executing it perfectly. Remove Pino, 2v1 on the shield, 1 from either side. Impossible situation for NIP to deal with. Great stuff.
And then Bay pops up in chat like, yo, I'm behind you. And it's the same thing we were speaking about in the first half. I said it earlier. Hates on the Ying on the hatch getting a 3K. There were no comms that he was there. The same thing has just happened. Bay has got 3 kills from that catwalk window, looking in towards site because they've been so concerned by what was happening on the breach, who's pushing up red stairs. It's free, literally free, and now they're at 6 and 2. They've won 2 attacks in a row. We said that attacks will make the difference today, and it feels like that's exactly what's happening here, Tim. 2 on a bounce, they could make this 3 in a row.
We can see that water on our beautiful stage just swirling around the NIP players now, threatening to turn into a maelstrom to devour them, Des, if they cannot get 4 rounds in a row. Like I said, I just feel like with NIP, I've commented on the trade numbers because, you know, your trade numbers are always a really good indicator of how you're playing as a team. You know, how is that teamwork? How are those comms? How are you working together with each other? And I've picked up on that because it suggests that NIP haven't been great at that element of the game so far through the tournament. And we're seeing it live in front of us. You know, they're being picked apart, they're being isolated. The Clash needs to be dealing with that player on the window so that Pino can get that safety to retreat if he needs to. It's kind of like Pino's just moved without saying, look, this is where I want to go, this is how we're going to do this. The communication on the side of Wildcard, you could see it in action, and it just seemed a lot better.
You speak a lot about how multi-kills were only really enabled, or clutches were enabled by mistakes from the other side, Tim. In all but one round in this game so far, we have had a 3K or better. In every round, bar one, there has been that big player that stepped up and been the hero for the team in the moment. Normally enabled, like I spoke about, the Hatch player, and of course in Bay in the last round. Just small things not being communicated by either side, and it's letting one player pop off and work a little bit of magic. This could be the last one, though. Basement, of course, we're trying to clear our way through. Hates is dangerously low here. Pino, of course, already offline. And we've got phone calls coming online for Bay. This is not looking good for NIP already.
Yeah, I think NIP are rattled at the minute. They just don't know what to do to turn this around. And Wildcard, they smell blood in the water. They really are taking advantage. They've got a shark of their own that's going to look to go through. Bay is going to pick up the kill onto Hits. That's going to be Fantasy fighting back with a big double, as we know he can. The moments that NIP really need him. But as I said, Wildcard have a shark of their own in the water, and they're going to pick up the kill onto Fantasy. And a second 3v1 Des.
Another multi-kill, Tim. That'll be in nearly all of our rounds in this game. There has been a hero, and Baby Shark, the one. Do you think he evolves into something else at some point, goes up beyond being a Baby Shark? What does he become next?
I don't know what comes after a shark. Is it like a megalodon or something? I don't know.
Something equally dangerous, I'm sure. Or just turns into normal shark. That'll be his new name next season. Cons with it all to do. He spoke a lot about how well he's played this tournament, Tim. He's 2-6 in this game. He's got a minute to hold on against 3. It kind of feels if anyone can do it based on tournament performance so far, it could well be him. But I think even this may well be beyond him. Wildcard have got all the time in the world to drone him out. They've got 3 flashbangs. They've got loads of Grimbees still to fire off. Cons has really got to slip through the net here, escape back into the ocean if they want to hold on.
I just don't see it happening. If I'm honest with you, Des, I think that Wildcard are playing this exactly right. They are just going through, picking these apart one at a time. They've got them down to the 3v1 now. They're using their time. They know where their strengths are inside of this game. Cons, he's roaming around though. He's unpredictable, manages to get one put. The problem is it takes his eye off the ball. Spiker manages to get that diffuser down. 2v1, and that is going to be it. Wildcard step up, and they manage to take map 1 from NIP.
Huge performance from them, to be honest. It's 7-2 overall. Flawless on the attack inside. It really is breaking that narrative that these two teams struggle to attack. Can't wait to see, of course, what happens on our next map, because where we're stepping into, Skyscraper, things are going to be so hard in the defense, but on the attack, sorry. Our break is ready. Let's go to it now and then come back to you with the death. See you in a few.
Au-delà des mers, là-bas sur le ciel clair, il existe une cité au séjour enchanté. Et sur les grands arbres noirs, chaque soir, vers elle s'en va tout mon espoir. J'ai 2 amours.
you do look really comfortable playing in the main stage of a major. You never did that before.
Yeah, that's an insane performance. Yeah.
Also,
About our team, But yeah, I'm so grateful about the experience and about like that opportunity. I was just trusting my teammate, and yeah, I was just comfortable, just playing the game.
it seems like NIP is out of sync. What do you feel after this map?
Yeah, I think that our initial plans for their defenses was not great. I think we executed poorly, and some ideas was not everything right. So yeah, for this second map, we're gonna reset, we're gonna play defense. So yeah, I think it's gonna be better.
Some clear words from our players, but a very good start from Wildcard on what isn't even their own map pick. And we just spoke to Baby Shark as well, but he clearly is feeling like a fish on the water on this main stage.
No, Baby Shark was so quintessential to Wildcard being able to set the tone early on, especially that round 2 flank where they were in a man-down deficit, 2-4. He flanks up the main stairs off of his teammates' communication, gets 2 big picks, and then plays around the diffuser, waiting for the final players to try to retake it back. It was a very smart play because he knew at this point there was no way for him to run back. So he slows and plays the time.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, I mean, they had 4 roamers essentially, and Baby Shark was the one who stayed behind. Great intuition of him from understanding, playing a little bit of mind games, making them think that they fell back to sight. Once they got rid of the players, that's what really allowed him to capitalize and go for that flank. And for just being a young gunner, coming out here, still keeping up these performances, God, it's amazing to watch.
It is very good to see that on the side of Wildcard, but it isn't the only player that we have to highlight here after this first map. Spiker was also really stepping up.
Yeah, in round 7, this was a round that should have not gone in their favor. This was due to NIP getting over-aggressive, but for Spiker to understand, Baby Shark has that coverage, has that win condition by holding that map control, and then needing to take German. He does a great job eliminating Wizard, and then getting the revive onto Dash, where they then 3 can work together in conjunction to bring this round back into their favor, and that's exactly what they do. You see Spiker continue to get through German, takes it on to Cons, and then Dash, Baby Shark, and Spiker all in unison push on the last player of Pino, capitalizing and putting this round and putting the momentum continuously into the game.
I mean, Spiker played it amazingly well, but it's a very good showing of why NIP was losing. Even though they were able to get 5 opening kills, they were not converting rounds. They only converted 2 of those rounds. They were constantly giving back 1v1 opportunities. Spiker took advantage of that. Many of the players on Wildcard took advantage of that. And that was the biggest downfall for NIP. When they get the opening kill, slow it down. They don't need to be going for over-slaughtering Wildcard. You just need to be able to close out the round and win it.
The Spiker senses are putting the players from NIP under pressure. Elimination is on the line if they can't get the second map, Skyscraper, on the board. We'll talk about it after this.
When the team is doing really well, what can you talk about with them?
I'm feeling happy right now, and we are playing a very confident map. Skyscraper already won 2 times in the tournament, so we are happy to play again, and let's see how it goes.
What did you say to NIP during this break? No, let's start again. Peraí. What did you say to NIP during this break?
A gente deu uma chocada muito grande pra gente ter um pouco mais calma. Teve vários rounds que estavam no nosso controle, só que a gente não teve a comunicação ali por estar nervoso, a gente fazendo coisas assim muito nada em conjunto, então foi mais pra focar nisso, nessa parte.
We got really shocked. We didn't have calm at all, so I just said to them to be focused on being calm.
We'll see if NIP can be focused on this second map. This also important one for them. We're going to Skyscraper. What do they need to do to stay in the competition?
One, they need to be focused, and they need to end this half at least at a 5-1 split, 4-2 split, because as we've seen so far throughout this tournament, their attacks, they lack heavy.
And we know Wildcard, once they get 4 rounds on defense, it's almost a given throughout their group stage that they're going to get it. And at that point, it's already going to be dire situations for NIP. So they know with that pressure, they're going to be playing to at least get more than 3 rounds on their defensive half.
Well, they need more. They need this everything to stay inside this competition. They need this second map as well. Let's give it up for our casters. We got Ace, Des, and our special guest, Fett.
Hi guys, welcome back. And look who's with us. It's Fett.
Hello guys.
I gotta say, I love the top.
Oh, thanks.
I saw it and I thought that looks so good on the broadcast. We've now got to get you on, so here you are.
I love you.
Oh, that's very kind of you, mate. But yeah, I thought I'd brought you in for a game here as well. Of course, it's an NA team. We said we can't get in on M80 because you'd stream the house down. So it feels like this is a reasonable game to get you involved in. What have you been thinking so far of what you've seen in that first map?
I think Wildcard really surprised. I think they were ready for everything NIP does. I think NIP kind of, and this is a hot take, I think NIP kind of play like the NA equivalent of Brazil. They kind of look like a version of SR that come from Brazil. So obviously Wildcard fully anticipate of it. And it's really surprising considering that NIP took down SR and SSG.
Absolutely, and they could yet take down a third. They could go on and take down a fourth. It would be absolute madness if we get to that point. But Tim, social votes actually still really around the same. Maybe not fully convinced by that first map from Wildcard.
Yeah,
bit of a weird one.
Kind of surprised, but look, doesn't matter what the socials think. It matters what's happening. This one's about to get underway. It's map 2.
Pretty cool standing here and seeing it from this perspective, hey?
Yeah.
Does it feel weird standing in front of like these monitors and a desk? You were looking at all the tech earlier, just like, what the hell, all these buttons?
I mean, it's like I'm coaching again. I get all the POVs again.
You got a little tear in your eye?
Watching again, a little tear in my eye, except I'm just talking aloud to myself. I can hear myself in the arena.
So when you come to these events, obviously normally as a content creator now as well, like, do you look at players like this and you're just like, man, I really wish I was there again?
No, that's way too stressful. That's way too stressful.
Not too surprised by that one. Well, let's get into operator bans. They're kicking through first and foremost. Ying being taken away, was used quite a bit on the previous map, and Kaid, Shock Horror, comes out of Wildcard.
Yeah, I think we're likely to see the second Bandit Bro or Electro Bro.
Electro Bro, get it right, come on.
I know I got that way wrong. No, it's going to be Clash, okay, taking the shield away. Of course, had quite a bit of impact in the last map as well on Clubhouse. Ying and Blitz, not too much surprise there. But, you know, look, I'm going to say the same thing as I did coming into Clubhouse, and we saw it play out. Both of these teams have struggled on attack through the tournament. That was the case. Wildcard were able to deliver better on their attacks. They won the map, simple as that. I think it's going to be the same case here, but how do you think that attacking is going to play into Skyscraper, Fett?
I think North America is one of the few regions that figured out attacking on Skyscraper. M80, you saw they had 2 back-to-back 6-0 attack caps within the North American League, and they tweeted out a little bit of a hint looking at Wildcard's attacks. Hey, who they get that inspiration from when Wildcard had successful attacking caps on Skyscraper themselves. I think we'll get something similar here. I think Wildcard starting on attack, I think it's a side they want. I think it's a side they're comfortable with. And hopefully we'll see some of the magic.
And the stats support it as well, right? They've got a 54% attacking win rate on this map, meaning more than half of their attacks on Skyscraper is no easy feat, especially having just played W7M here only a few days ago, Tim. Both teams have got really like tape on each other. I've got a question for you now. Think about it, Fett. You want to try play-by-play at some point to get to do the hype casting part?
Maybe a couple rounds in. I'm a little nervous right now. I'm a little shaky right now.
We drop every guest into it as we did Fresh the other day, so you're going to get dropped in at some point. I'll tell you that now.
Sounds good.
For now, though, let's get ourselves focused on this first round. It is the classic karaoke and tea to start things out. And Tim, as you might expect, we've got a few roamers out towards the other side of the building.
Yeah, Wildcard already setting themselves up towards top black stairs as well. We see them pushing Geisha on this side here, so not too much of a surprise. They're trying to create that pinch. They're trying to get themselves into Geisha, get that control, clear out the Warden, which is going to be Pino. That's where a bit of pressure is going to come to begin with, and then they can look to work in from top black stairs. Whether they rotate that later on or not, we'll see. But right now, that's how they're shaping up.
Main kill right now, target focus is going to be Hates. He is the barrier to entry for Wildcard. They need to walk the Montaigne up at him, Capital bolt at the guy, and use the Grims to ping him out. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take underneath control for that.
I'm going to lose my job at this point, Tim. He sounds like he's a fit for the part.
He really does, doesn't he? Toxic Bear canister is going to go out, and that's Hates in this position. As you quite rightly predicted, Fett is going to come under pressure immediately, as this Monty is going to want to push forward. But for the time being, Hates is playing this well. He's using his utility. He's just holding them back. He's got a bit of barbed wire to rely on as well. So this is all a game of cat and mouse. It's about how quickly Wildcard can force him out.
Looks like they might be flipping a bit. They see, Wildcard see their obstacles. There's too much going on black side. Let's take a look over to the opposite side of the map, office side. They're getting in fully on this side of the map, and they're taking the complete half of the map for free.
I feel like they've flipped everything over here, Tim. They've been making phone calls at the same time as 3 players are pushing on the east side, which has meant this has been a really half-hearted push in from Wildcard. Still trying to play a little bit of catch-up here. Baby Shark's been a bit far ahead of everyone else. Kansas a little bit too far behind. It's more the things that we saw of NIP back on the previous map was players playing out of turn, doing their own thing here, maybe not quite on the same page.
Important part for NIP here is that Wizard's got the diffuser down on drum stairs. He's playing around there, but he is low health, and he's being hunted by Spiker at the moment, but they're not sure exactly where he is. They know where the diffuser is, but not the player B. Does manage to pick up Pino. That's going to be the Warden gone. Always a powerful operator to take off the board. It'll give them a little bit of space later in the round. They've got smokes in pocket that they could use come execute time.
How valuable is that Melusi underneath? I know they're looking at him, but he's not a Solus, he's not a Pulse. He's not going to be able to deny the plant. At some point, Wildcard realized it's time to hit site, and that time is now.
Apparently so. Hates in for one, Cons for a second. That Wildcard have tried to make it work, but as you say, even without Wizard being involved, they've managed to hold on well upstairs here. Final 15 seconds, and Bayer's got a lot of work to do. It would have been an ace to win that first round, Tim, but NIP stand firm.
I think Wildcard just spent a little bit too long worrying about where that diffuser was. It was down on the ground. They were fighting their way in, trying to get it back, but they could just never seem to confidently get in there and pick it up. Whether that was the presence of Wizard underneath that was putting them off, he was low health. They really should have just gone and got that kill, I think, and it would have freed up the rest of the map for them.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that NIP did to stop that black push was to use the Azami onto the top black door to make sure that guy cannot help that Monty coming up. The moment Wildcard realized that, they do a great flip, but that Montaigne makes a big blunder coming at that wave stairs just a tiny bit too early.
It was all a little bit scrappy for me for that first round. Again, the flip-flopping, the change of direction, the phone call being used when 3 players were nowhere nearby to capitalize. It's okay. It's first round. We'll give it a chance to reset, but NIP did show they can hold on very, very comfortably. Second round, we're going to flip over to the other side of the map. It's going to be Exhibition and Office here in round 2. And once again, NIP have got a few players scattered out towards the west side of the map. And Fantasy, Tim, we speak about being quite a selfish operator sometimes. He's jumping onto the Vigil.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the last round. He was just kind of getting a little bit floaty, wasn't he? We saw him around top drum stairs, got a kill, moved through, got aggressive into terrace as well. And if he can start getting that sort of energy, that's exactly where NIP want him. So get him on the Vigil, get him out there. He's going to have the boss G as well. If he can start playing with confidence, maybe pick up an entry, then Wildcard could be in trouble.
I've got a question for you, actually.
Yes.
Vigil. We often say it's selfish operator. It doesn't offer an awful lot to the team outside of being that rover that's out there to play his life. What's your perspective?
I think selfish operators are very common these days because of how much map control you really want to hold down. Sometimes you don't have, you know, the reinforcements to hold it down. Now, he is playing a position, an anchor position for Vigil that's very good because that Geisha kill box setup that they're doing with the reinforced walls, typically people bring the Deimos and the Grim to clear that out. By being Vigil, he's able to dodge those pings, so he's not necessarily playing a selfish position on this particular bomb site.
More in a spot to be able to counter what he expects to be brought along to deal with him in this case. And for now, hasn't been moved. We are only 60 seconds in. There is time. We've got Dash and we've got Kansan sniffing around this part of the map. You can hear those X-Kairos going off. But there we go. It's an easy swing from Kansan, who carries on his good form from the previous map, Tim.
Absolutely beautiful there, Kansan, just taking that one-tap peek and managing to take the Vigil out of it. That frees up Geisha now, so Wildcard can start pushing across and taking more control, which they will do as Spiker takes down Cons. That's going to be the Azami as well. 3 of your power operators are gone as Warden bites the dust. Spiker finding a second. Wildcard are running away with this, Des.
What a fantastic push forward as well. They've taken control of site. They've caught the 2 players from NIP that are trying to work their way back in towards site. Excellent execute by Wildcard.
So much redirection is what Wildcard is so good at. They brought the sense, the perfect counter to that mirror set up top. Mez blocks off all the line of sights. You see that as NIP, oh my god, they're coming T. Just kidding, they're hitting your site already. That's exactly what they did W7N, sorry. And bro, that's what they're doing now.
Say sorry. We've already mucked up many times. Don't you worry about that, man. It's all well and good. It's all well and good. Barbecue and kitchen for round 3 is where we step to then. I mean, so far we've seen a bit of a mucky first round, I thought. It's the best way to summarize it. Wildcard, lots of changing around, lots of misalignment on utility. That round, much more coherent in their attack, I thought, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. That top floor clearance coming across from the Geisha side, it was all unlocked by taking Fantasy out of it. Once they got the kill onto the Vigil, you saw them start picking up pace, start moving. We know we've got nobody behind us now. We know we've got the ground that we want, and here comes the plan, and it was just time to execute it. So really good from Wildcard on the attack there. I think it's going to be fairly similar from them this time around, but what do you think, Fer, here? Given the way that round 1 went, they're going to want top floor control. Do you think they still kind of go direct with coming through top black, come onto karaoke window, or this time do you say, you know what, we're gonna go for the whole package, get in through office exhibition, full sweep, and maybe try a little bit of a different tack?
The sheer amount of hard breachers on board lead me to believe that it could be an office across. However, I do see players getting ready to gear up black side. If anything, they want to use the ace charge to potentially go for the black stairs take, where they walk down the black stairs, ace into, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like they're working almost every point of pressure on the map. They're all across everywhere.
Reloaded. Yeah, that's just the way you start off with this map, right? It's kind of star setup where you've got all these different points being challenged at the same time. Spoke about it back on Club, how NIP was often bunching up together and trying to make the pushes happen that way. For Wildcard here, we can see there's players out towards Exhibition, up towards Shrine, down towards Terrace, off towards Karaoke Window. They are everywhere, Tim.
NIP, this is a really important moment for them because Wildcard are trying to overload them. They're trying to bully them, they're trying to pressure them, and they're trying to assert dominance on the attack of Skyscraper. And if NIP allow that to happen, it is going to snowball round after round. The confidence will start to be leached away. Dash manages to pick up Wizard. The battles continue for top floor, but it's NIP overall that's losing out.
This is the big risk that you take in trying to push all these parts of the map, though, as you're forcing 1v1s everywhere. And NIP on their day, as you can see from Fantasy already, well, they can tango with the best, and they're looking damn good. A 3 versus 2, though, for Wildcard, as they have managed to come out of this on top, but they've still got a lot of work to do, Tim. They need that full top floor control. They need to then start looking towards the site. They've still got half a round to work with, though, Fet.
Top 4 control, they do get that reinforced connector wall between Geisha and Pink is going to pose kind of like a slowdown for them. They're not going to be able to rotate between verts of the site quite easily, but then again, they don't even necessarily have vert operators to do things with. They have breach charges, that's about it, but you have to pick one side to go for and one side to not. Do you go black stairs or do you drop the Geisha hatch? You have to choose one.
Looking towards kitchen hatch, maybe. Asking a couple of questions, but like I say, they had half a round still to play with, Tim. So much time here to figure out what's best.
Yeah, that's the thing. We saw it from them on Clubhouse, just using that clock. We saw it in the last round where it was 2v1. Absolutely not rushing at all.
Yeah, well, Fantasy almost goes for a flank there. Could have been huge. He gets in a huge win con spot, but immediately gets eliminated. That opens up the black stairs execute if they want to go for that. And you see Kansan and Spiker immediately rotating over for that, but Dash has liver control, and they're going to win the round off of just pure frags.
You know what? I thought earlier in the round, I was like, oh, this is the one I'm making do some play-by-play, but you took it there. You did a good job, man.
No
there
problem
you go.
at all.
I'm definitely losing my job.
I don't have the cool accent.
I'll take over the stream.
Okay, yeah. My booth is right over there.
Exactly, there you go. Yeah. You have to teach me.
But the diversity of playstyle from Wildcard is just really, really impressive. Both rounds, the first couple of rounds we saw, they go completely from one side and then flip to the other. That round they do 1-1-1-1-1, almost like a G2 playstyle where everyone collapses 3-2-1 on their own individual positions, and they go for their own ones. And man, are they coordinated on that.
I'm always very nervous when you have that happening, but we've got attack timeout coming in. Let's take a listen to NIP's timeouts.
Que nem eu falei na preparação pra gente fazer, que a gente não fez agora, e jogar com um trap. Mano, joga full trap. Não deixa os caras ZK, mano. Se a gente vê que é uma Zezek, não deixa, mano. Não deixa. Vocês estão deixando, tá ligado? Só deixa eles fazerem tudo que eles querem, mano. Ganhar todas as áreas da bomba e a gente tá caindo mano, o tempo inteiro nesse jogo espetado dos caras, entendeu? Eles beitaram ali a caçada, do nada estouraram a bomba, tá ligado? Tá. Então, mano, com a trap eu acho que vai facilitar isso e a gente jogar recuado, mas o recuado não é a gente equivar o mapa pros caras e foda-se, entendeu? Não, mano, começa avançado, pega uns drones, na hora que a gente recuar, eu quero que você jogue agressivo nas posições, entendeu? Tá, beleza, fechou. Ali, Reis, a gente vai precisar ali, mano, de uma solução ali pro hold da ovo, tá ligado? Isso, é. O que você acha melhor ali, mano? Talvez umas solis ali, mano, pra você tentar antecipar pra baixo, pra cima?
We have a regular problem in the talent team, Fett, that I'm hoping you can help with. And that is that basically none of us speak Portuguese. Really hoping you're going to be able to tell me you do.
I heard the word traps, and you see Fenrir and Ella. And that's all I got from that timeout, but it makes a lot of sense. Wildcard are going for fast, decisive entries that are really the pace of which is what's determining the round. Look at backs completely turned. They have no idea where it's coming from, and there's another, and there's another, and there's another. By having these traps, these notifications, I like to call them, around the map, it'll tell them where to go and where to contest. And I don't know what the rest of what he said, but if I had to guess, maybe he's saying stop being scared, stop their entries, go off the sounds of the traps, collect together, and stop letting them run us over with the entries, essentially.
Hopefully Maria can help us out with that one shortly, and we'll get an absolute verification on just how good your guessing skills are. Because that sounds like the sort of thing, from what you've described, is what you'd want to say as a coach in that situation is don't be scared, be willing to challenge.
I don't know if I could coach against Wildcard. I'm kind of washed. I've kind of fell off. A little bit old now. Pain in the back.
Less stress. At least somewhat.
Yes.
Here we go for our second quarter then. That's on the back of attack timeout. This is where you expect to see things change for NIP. But one thing we're touching on, Tim, with those two attacks, Wildcard have already kind of pushed past that 54% attacking win rate we spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, I think NIP are leaning into what Fett said there as well with the Dockerby ban. You know, let's try and prevent this ability in the early round for that call to come in and get aggressive onto the kills. This time instead, NIP are able to find the entry. Hits, takes down Baby Shark, and that's the knock. So Wildcard, they've recognized their strength there. They're trying to lead into it. Yeah, but let's just take the knock. Let's hit them by surprise. NIP have woken up. They're having absolutely none of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the moments where fire versus fire, fighting fire with fire works is when you're on defense against fast attackers. If they're worried about sprinting into the building so fast, getting in their faces, spawn pinky, that works so incredibly well, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
It's one of those where even with the smoke ban on the other side, that was Wildcard saying we want to go faster, right, Tim? We don't want to get caught up running into smokes here. But with the Doku being taken away, you do lose a little bit of that pace, that ability to be aggressive. And they're going to lose a second player here as well towards Hates. He has been, across both maps, an absolute headache. We spoke about him being a nuisance that couldn't do much on Club, but at least here, obviously in this round especially, he has been wasting a bit of time. Half the round's gone. He's gone 1 for 1. I'd say that's a pretty successful, air quotes, roam.
Yeah, but again, Wildcard have done a good job there. They've got the drones out, and again, I keep using the word teamwork for Wildcard. We can see the communication and the teamwork and the way they work together. They've recognized Hurts as a problem. They've put several people in position, so he's kind of trapped. There's nowhere he can go without an engagement, and they managed to secure the kill. The question is, did they take too long in doing it? A minute 15 left, and here comes the aggression. The Nomad is going to go in. Kansan again picking up another important down. It's effectively now 4 versus 3.
That's it, and that could be enough to give them enough time to hold on here. With Fantasy subdued and pushed away, they can't capitalize as easily off the back of the traps. Wizard is going to try and get him up, but no, Kansan! He's laid out the fishing line, Tim, and he's caught a big one. Got himself a freebie, now to a 4 versus 2 with a minute to play. In fact, this is looking great for Wildcard.
This double reinforcement on Karaoke that NIP have done are going to hurt them so much in this scenario, because what Wildcard want to do is walk through that rotate and get the bomb down. And now there's no angles to stop it. They have to retake with just a zombie barricades. C4 this guy potentially at the plant.
Oh.
Not good.
Missed it, and they get the 2 closing kills anyway. Wildcard looking fire so far. We do now actually have Maria, though, to let us know what was said during that attack timeout. Maria, what was said?
He said, play full trap. Don't let them do executions. You are letting them do whatever they want, letting them dominate every area of the bomb site. Play defensively, but without giving up map control. Start push it up and then rotate back to your positions.
You're actually pretty spot on there, Fett. Thank you very much, Maria. You were pretty close in what you assumed he said. Yeah. Maybe you aren't washed. There you go. You still got it.
Pro Portuguese speaker. I am. That's what they know me for.
Oh yeah, I wait until they start throwing some more complicated stuff at you later, and we'll see if we can figure that one out when we get there. But the crazy story is, of course, here we've got 3 attacks being won on Sky so far. We always consider a successful half, you know, a 3-3 for attackers feels great. They could push on for a 4 or a 5-1 here, Tim.
I really feel like Wildcard have set this up in the map banning phase. They've recognised that through the tournament, they've struggled on attack a little bit. So our map that we're going to aim to get is the one that we're great at attacking. We're going to solve that problem for ourselves by making sure that we're on the best ground that we can in order to do so. And it is working absolutely beautifully for them, and I'm really concerned about NIP's position at the minute, because they, of course, in the second half of this, have to go on to that attack. Historically on Skyscraper, only about a 36% win rate on attack. Here at the tournament, I think they're at about 40% attack, so very, very difficult. Second half coming up for NIP. They needed at least a 4-2 on this defensive half, and they haven't got it. They are in big trouble.
Almost identical setup versus identical attack. The same sort of Geisha kill box setup that is getting ace charged by Spiker right now, and the Mira on Mez with lines of sight all across this entry, and then Sense again to block off those lines of sight. Wildcard, will you this time continue to use it as redirection, or will you use it to go just straight up push through where you meant to go in the first place?
To do a little bit tighter to start things off, you can see they want to try and punish these players that are roaming out towards the west side of the map. Fantasy Shock Horror is the one out there trying to be busy here. We've got Wizard, of course, with the mirror window in towards gold, and then Hate's playing down towards Drum. This sort of like vertical slice of the map is where they want to hold for now. But Baby Shark testing of the waters underneath him. Maybe they come and get involved here and challenge on towards Fantasy with Spiker at top black. I don't think it'll be too long for this world unless he backs out and joins his team, which is now done. So NIP at least are responding to the pressure.
Yeah, every time there's like a 50-50 gunfight, though, it always seems that Wildcard come away with that little bit more. If you have a look at that coming together between Spiker and Fantasy, it's Fantasy that's taken the damage as he walks away.
What?
But hits just absolutely beautiful sprays through that light screen. Finds his man that dash down.
If he got the second there, I would have lost it. Instead, takes a good chunk of damage himself, down to half HP as Kamzan has managed to get himself inside a Geisha. But the response from Hates is great. Fall back a layer, work back through Terrace in towards site. Happy that they've got 1 kill on towards Dash and can now play 5 players on site.
Let's force the late round, NIP says. Play the layer, fall back, fall back, fall back. Map control looked really good for Wildcard to get since they were staying off his side, but that one random spray through the light screen, perfect game knowledge, huge, huge hit to the side of Wildcard.
That's what I do love about Skyscraper. I always say it's one of my favorite maps. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but the layers that you get on the top floor that you kind of fall back through as defenders has always been great to see, and NIP have pulled it off perfectly. Now, Wildcard are at the front door, Tim. They're knocking, they're asking questions. Bay is straight in here. Fantasy just going to run up behind him and bring him down. Now dancing the dance of death around Terrace itself. Spiker getting one back, but Fantasy, he's having a good time here, Tim. Got himself 2, but Spiker has managed to get himself a couple. It's going to have to be an ace, or this one goes the way of NIP. It feels, though, like the Brazilians should be able to take this.
Yeah, swings his way into VIP,
Shots.
manages to find another 1v3, becomes a 1v2. Spiker onto Pino was the latest with the headshot, and Fantasy is so low health. He needs to try and keep himself out of this fight, but in a position to impact it should he need to. Fantasy has actually run away from this, but Cons has got his back. He takes down the last man, and that is going to be NIP holding on, getting themselves a second round defensively. But Wildcard, it felt a little bit on the attack there, like they'd run out of options. It was kind of like, yeah, we're just going to have to run into small bar. They didn't really have what they needed to take that ground. It was an easy kill for Fantasy. It was a little bit of a roll of the dice.
Despite the fact that Wildcard looked like they had low options at the end, I do really like that. You kind of sense the confidence in them. They're willing to take the risks. They're standing there. Spiker's on a common position outside of black, just standing there ready to take the gunfight. They're ready. A bunch of young players, bunch of rookies, stuck together, toughed it through rough times in the NAL, and now I think they truly look ready to compete on the international stage.
I remember saying to you earlier on during the group stages as well, Tim, like Wildcard have been one of my top 3 favorite teams to watch so far. Like we've had a lot of fun. Yeah, Fury's been fun to watch, of course. G2 incredibly explosive on the attacks, very fun to watch. And Wildcard have had some of those rounds where they've looked absolutely excellent. The last one's certainly not a good example of it, but that explosiveness on the attack I think has made them a really enjoyable team to watch. And as we said coming in, we thought the attacks might be what makes the difference. It certainly did on Club. It could yet be what makes the difference here on Sky. Heading into this last round of the half, then NIP choose to defend Barbecue and Kitchen. We'll see again if we go for this full map play you were speaking about, Tim, or go for the small slice that you need and make something more shallow happen.
Yeah, well, if NIP can come away with a third defense here, it still might not be enough because I am expecting them to struggle a little bit on the attack, but what a smash and grab it will be. Wildcard have been great on the attack so far, and it'll leave them scratching their heads, but are they going to leave NIP scratching their heads as they go for the rush and the aggression on in towards the map? They are taking ground very quickly. They've got to get all the way across, but they're doing a great job.
It was only Cons they found there, right, though, Fet. He was the one who immediately turned tail, legged it, did not want to get involved in any gunfights, and sure enough, he's back on drum. No one's gone down here, so a good response from NIP.
Wildcard fans should be troubled right now because they're doing the same thing stylistically that lost in the last round. They're doing a full over clear with no points of lurk pressure in between or on the other side. That's what NIP want. They're layering. Look how fast they are. They have reinforcements and a big setup all across the karaoke side. And just in case they need to leave that too, they can also fall down to the first floor. Right now, NIP want to run down that clock, force that execute. That's what worked for them last round. And Wildcard just to make sure they're cleaner on that.
Hates underneath as well. Literally underneath the feet of the Monty here as he starts to step on forward. Of course, can't do an awful lot, but can push up those house stairs a little bit later on. So I hope to God they've got some cover. Maybe Baby Shark can help them from down off towards Exhibition and Office, but if he can get a bit of a backstab here, he's in for some real work. Oh, that was the cover I was on about. Baby Shark needed to be able to help here. Now, surely the call has come in. Oh, God, there's a guy behind us. They've now pushed forward aggressively. Pino has got rid of the shield. That was the crucial kill to get. Brilliant round from NIP.
Hits has done the damage and disappeared, though. Beautiful understanding from him. Gets up house stairs, gets the kill, and now he's back underneath, into sight, and looking to support his team. NIP, as you say, have absorbed pressure brilliantly here. We saw that flash of an entry from Wildcard. They tried to get in really quickly and grab ground, but they've not been able to take anything beyond that. Canton does manage to find one, but it still leaves them in a 2 versus 3. There's one up for grabs, and he manages to pick up a second. 2v2. Could NIP be letting another one slip?
This is such a tough spot because there's so much vert above the site. At any point, should Wildcard choose to double down on the site player, anyone on NAP could just retake right on the top floor and then have full lines of sight onto everywhere that they could possibly plant. On the other hand, if you go 1-1 on each floor, then you're leaving it up to horizontal pressure. Where could they possibly come from? You're not able to be holding every single piece of horizontal entry, right? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna double up. It's 2v2 on the first floor. No one's retaking straight gunfights.
I don't think they know where Cons is tucked in right now, which is part of the danger. Hayes and Cons did a great job of tucking themselves away, but Camden is going nuclear. Stopped at the last second, and Hayes holds on. He's been having a great game so far, Tim, and saves the round for NIP.
Who else? A big triple in the round first, and just completely different kinds of kills. Using Solis perfectly, he gets out there on the roam, hits him on the flank, but then falls back to side. Just a great understanding of the round and where NIP are in that round. Back to support site, and then picks up the last 2 there as well. Great round from Hits.
Wildcard had a lot of wrenches to throw in the system to win those first 3 rounds that they got. Towards the tail end of that attacking half, they kind of went back to the default push all the way, all of us from one side over across, and that's exactly what NIP want. When you become predictable, NIP can counter you, and Wildcard, I think maybe they had over-adjusted back from the weird stuff back to the default stuff, and maybe it was too much of an adjustment, and NIP were completely ready.
Shock horror on the bans, by the way. I feel it's been the tale of the game. Like we had a bit of a mirror thrown in there, a shield on the prime map at 1.2, but otherwise it has been, well, on this map, sorry, it was the Blitz earlier on, but otherwise it's pretty stock standard, Tim. The Electro Bros being taken away as well as double hard breach yet again.
We're moving into the point now where the decisions are really going to be made on Skyscraper. I've continually commented on the struggle that NIP have had with attacking so far, and now they move into a crucial attacking half. They are, of course, 1 map down at the moment. If they lose here on Skyscraper, they are done in Munich. They will be the next team washed out of this tournament. So, NIP, it's now or never. You've got to stand up, you've got to come in, carry that momentum they've had. A great little smash and grab at the end of the first half to get themselves back to 3-3. Wildcard must be scratching their heads a little bit. It will have felt like they could have more rounds there, but they will be comfortable and confident now they've moved on to the defense.
Wildcard doing a light office roam, likely with the clash to check outside of that office breach, going outside of Terrace. fall back into their site layer.
What's your take on Denari so far?
Denari, I trolled when he came out because I said he would be the best operator in the game, bar none, now that Fenrir and Legion lost their secondary shotguns. Unfortunately, Denari can't do anything about people coming up staircases, so that's not the case, but there's a lot of heavy traffic areas that he does super, super well at. Still highly picked, so not fully wrong, hopefully, but I just like to overhype things, right?
Done your job, mate. That's a bait for the views, the engagement, the interactions. Admittedly, it's been more, we've seen often more be the case that he draws in grenades, right? You're forcing utility to clear out those Denaris. It's obviously not always obvious and immediate where they are, and sometimes it's a case of trying to find an angle to shoot them out. You can't do it. Instead, you turn towards nades in the same way that we used to in mute jammers on single doorways, for example. Don't take the risk of stepping up to the door, toss utility, so there's still value being offered by the operator, and the fact he's got a shield, of course, being used in this round.
NIP clearing straight into that massive setup of Wildcard. I wonder how that will work out for them. They do have the Clash that will directly counter that shield and knock him back, but Wildcard look a bit hesitant to contest right now. I think they also want to play the layer. Shields will make contact. Nothing happening.
The classic stare down.
Flash Torch just backing up the Monty a little bit there. Baby Shark knowing that whilst the electricity might not do any damage anymore, his sheer presence is enough to prevent that push forward. Halfway through the round, NIP not really established inside of the map yet, and this is where we might start to see those problems. But that said, Wizard on the rappel manages to pick up Dash, does a lot of damage in return though, and they do not want to lose the Grim. The Candelas come in. This could be time for NIP to start grabbing a little ground.
They've got to make their move, Tim, but they're throwing in all this utility. No one has really pushed into the map. They've sat outside. They've given space to Wildcard, who have now found 3 kills. The Monty may still stand, Tim, but Cons is only just getting inside a terrace. He's been abandoned, left out in the cold on the other side of the map, and 2 of them are now pushing. You've got Bay and Baby Shark trying to chase him down, and Cons is just trying to keep himself alive here.
The Montaigne was completely fake pressure. They had a free kill, and then they all run over, but Wildcard are so ready for it. Regardless, Cons trades it back even to a 2v2. Clash versus Montaigne, however, you get directly counter and evade, taking down Fantasy. It's a Wildcard round.
Tell you what, he stuck to him like glue that entire round. The Clash was giving him 0 space on that Monty, and you can see how it forced him to have to be aggressive, and in the end, sprayed down very comfortably. Great first round.
And this is where I think the problem is going to come from NIP. Wildcard there, despite the pressure, despite having the shield up in sight, they have answers and are very, very good on the defense of Skyscraper. So NIP, their opportunities are going to be few and far between. Found themselves losing that first round, takes a little bit of momentum, and they're in that position now as well, where every round they lose is one closer to the end of the tournament for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to deal with the same office layer this time, except it's the site itself. Clash outside, mirrors facing everywhere. Too broad to slow down your push from the opposite side over. Let's see what NIP choose for their approach.
Surely going to see that mirror band away in the 3rd point as well, Tim, because again, we're seeing them running into the absolute death here. Wildcard did back on the previous map, NIP banned it at the end of the 3rd round. Dash, as you just said a second ago, running it here alongside his army, alongside the Clash. There's just so much to work through. And if a team struggles on time at all, careful there, Milosh. Didn't sort of trip over, bless his heart and soul. They've got a lot to work through either way. Same with things like the smoke that was banned out on the previous map. It is giving a lot for NIP to do, which is why looking at the lineup here, in towards very execute-focused operators, the Deimos being in below, the Sens light screens, those Grim Bees, they've got a lot that maybe isn't the best equipped for clearing out around the map itself, but the site, they've come well prepared.
I'm keeping an eye on the hard breacher here. What does Cons do? Where does he go? Because they've gone for the double electricity ban. So they want to be breaching. They want to be going on opening walls. They didn't really do that, to begin with in the first round or their first attacking round. They've got to make sure that they're using that utility, because otherwise, what's the point in the bans? You might as well take away the Clash, the other operators that you're going to struggle with. So keep an eye on Cons and see how much value they get from that hard breach.
The #1 target for Cons is that wall between Geisha and Karaoke. Normally, to counter this Geisha box hold, you see to the right, the moment he repels left, you'll see that wall on your right, is a ranged hard breacher like Ace, like Hibana.
Nice,
but
right
now
here,
it's, hi Ace. But now he's on Thermite. It's both been away by Wildcard. They can't get in on this guy. How are they possibly going to clear him out? They have to use the sense to block off the drum holes so that they can run at him. through Geisha.
Again, we've got the clash outside again. He's just being an absolute headache. They can't really play on this balcony now. Bay, he gets the one. He's still asking questions. This is horrible, Tim. How have they let it happen?
They've lost Wizard and Hits there, and that is the attack starting to crumble. They haven't dealt with the Geisha hold either, and Bay is just supporting that further. Gets back in.
Timing.
Unforgivable. How does he get away with this?
That is just insane.
And
Bay is still there, you know, Bowers is still alive. Clash is so incredibly strong.
In the right hands, that's for sure, and Bay is having a lot of fun. Fantasy trying to recover the round, but it's a 2 versus 4. Last round, they at least had cons on the Monty to try and help out, but this one, Tim, feels like it might be a bit too much to get done.
Yeah, time is ticking for NIP now, and we know that it's unlikely. However,
Shot.
while Fantasy is left alive, we know that anything is possible. 2v4 becomes a 2v3 as he finds the first that they need. 55 seconds, so they have plenty of time. They can have the players on the drones, feeding intel. They've got the air jabs to deal with the clash. NIP have an opportunity here. Wildcard, I think, just got to play this smart. Don't overplay it and let NIP put themselves in those risky positions.
Without pressure outside Obvious, they can play anywhere, any corner on this side. This is why Skyscraper is so defender-sided. There's so many corners, there's so many rat spots, and there's no one outside the breaches to even tell you where they are.
Honestly, a round for Bay, I think, there.
If you remember at the beginning, I said, what are they going to do with Hard Breach? They've gone the double electrical ban, and we see the end of the round there with 3 defenders who can play wherever they want because nothing's been breached. Absolutely. And that's a problem for NIP.
Really was the clash for me. Like, he did so much work outside. And you gestured to it during the round as well, Fet. 3 of those air jabs left in back pocket could have really helped dealing with Bay, but the team were they were panicking almost, didn't quite know how to respond, and by the time they finally got an answer, he got 2 kills and then came back to collect a 3rd.
Yeah, they seemingly had the perfect attacker lineup. If they wanted to win a 2v4 against a clash, that would have been it. They had the Nomad up, but unfortunately for them, I think they just kind of gave up. I have no idea how Bay even got back in here. I don't even know.
But why are you playing that game, Pino? Why? You're not at all. Like, oh.
We had a conversation about when Clash came out. First of all, me and Penguin were going at it about whether it would be absolutely broken or absolutely not. Brazil was one of the regions most heavily affected by Clash because of how aggressive and face check they like to play. All Clash bans or all Clash play in super defended-sided rounds when Clash was up. NA and EU seem to deal better with Clash, but also now they seem to better abuse it. I'm sure we can see from that round just how oppressive Clash can be on specific maps like Skyscraper, and he's running it again. We better hope, for NIP's sake, they ban it the next round.
Now, you know what it is? Baby Shark was like, Bay, you got 3 kills there, yeah? He's like, yeah, okay, I'm playing Clash now. I need some more. He's down 1 and 6. Not that it matters when your team is playing this down well. You know, Bay at 8 and 4, Kansan's 12 and 4. They're absolutely flying, Tim. So why not, Baby Shark thinks, get himself involved in the action by running with that Clash, potentially being quite aggressive with it.
Rotero drones start to race on in and take away those castles, just picking that defense apart piece by piece. But let's not forget, there is the Azami on side, so the keeper barricades as well can help to replace some of that lost utility. NIP just kind of cycling around the outside of the map at the minute. None of them have got established inside yet. They're just trying to soften up the defense where they can. They're a minute in. It's all about droning and utility so far.
Yeah, NIP playing the exact same game that Wildcard lost rounds against them too. They're pushing directly across. Meanwhile, Wildcard, they have the layer, the mid-map layer, Shrine and Drum control. Drum with the Azami and Shrine with Clash. 2 heavy slowdown points. How will you clear this out? How will you circumvent this? Will you ignore it and hit somewhere else, or will you just dump utility in it, and who will come out on top?
And they've still got to work on getting downstairs after that point. They're not even looking close to breaking through the top floor hold. Once that's done, Tim, then it's about opening up the verticals, massaging the last couple of players, going for your execute, for example. I don't think they have enough time here unless they go now, really.
They're just feeling like he had an opportunity there. It wasn't to present itself. Candela goes in, but again, how much are you gaining for this utility? That's all 3 Candelas sent in. Are they making enough progress? It's a little bit of a bait as they're trying to get into sight and just trying to push them all over the map, but it's not happening as a double kill comes in. Hits does manage to find Kansan. 3v3 as it all shakes down, but all Candela's gone, and Wildcard holding strong.
Spiker just doing Spiker things, though. He's had 2 brilliant maps so far. Brings it back to Wildcard side for NIP for a second. I thought they were starting to build a little bit of momentum in the round, but that has been completely neutered. It's down, I was going to say to Cons and Hates, but now it's just Hates himself. He's had a good game so far, Tim, but a 1v3 feels a bit too far.
Yeah, Yeah, Hates has just kind of been running around in restaurant and storage. He ran into site, he ran back out. He's not been able to find anybody because Wildcard have defended from above. Bates putting the plant down. He could have stuck it then. He won't know that. The challenge starts to come in from above. You know that his days are numbered, and it's going to be Dash to pick up that final kill for Wildcard, and they put themselves on match point.
Wildcard are so good at responding to those the attacking lurks that NIP are throwing at them off the util. Right there, it honestly looked like NIP had a gap. They just walked the guy through first floor up the wave stairs off of the Yings. It looks like they were ready to go fully in, get a backstab, and break things open. But Wildcard, they're not holding the crossfire. They're backed all the way up. That's how you counter that aggression. You don't even hold the play for the objective. You back all the way up, you play in a deep corner, you play the rat, and then you counter the aggression. Look at how far back Spiker is playing right here. Perfect counterplay. Every single round has been like this, where NIP seem to have a gap, but Wildcard are just ready for it every single time.
Looking really impressive, Tim, and it's a good sign for things to come because we are getting to the sharp end of the tournament now, and I think it's fair to say every team left, we've seen their attacking proficiency be something spectacular. And if NIP can't quite tango against Wildcard, how could they against the likes of M80, G2, FaZe, Secret, you name it? So many big teams left that would just run over them.
That's the thing, you know, I don't want to, you know, kind of put anybody down. All the teams are here because they've earned it and they've all put up good performances. But you've got to say this matchup is the two sleeper teams, really, if you wanted to call them that at the tournament. If you were to say to me they've gone on a run and won this, I'd say, you know, what a performance. It'd be a surprise. Like you say, when you've got names like Falcons and FaZe left, it is always going to be a big ask. But this could be the start of it for Wildcard. It's been a solid performance so far. They've recognised what the weaknesses are in NIP. They've played into it brilliantly, isolating them on Clubhouse, taking advantage of that lack of teamwork at times and punishing them. And then here on Skyscraper, knowing where the difficulties are going to come from NIP, and again, completely abusing it. Really good from Wildcard. And I tell you what, there's a few teams I think that'll be looking towards this team and doing that little bit of extra prep.
So you need the wellies at this point, don't you, Tim? It's getting very watery, very murky around the NIP booth. One round, I was about to say one wave away, but they are one round away from the wave washing over them and taking them out of the competition.
NIP.
Pretty ominous, that, isn't it, really? Quite intense, actually. It's even more intense on the screen.
Oh my God.
Scary, right?
NIP have a reputation in the Brazil League for being a fantastic tactical team, a fantastic team under one condition: when the pressure's not on them. They are known to be almost like, from the other Brazilian coaches I've heard, they've known to almost be pressure chokers, right? Where we see in the playoffs when things matter the most, that's when they start to get a little shaky. They look so dominant during that group stage. Here, during the elimination games, they almost proved us wrong, beating North American Titans, SSG, SR, back-to-back, dominant fashion. They're getting to this main stage, but is on the stage for the first time in a while for many of these players. Is this where they crumble?
Looks like it may well be. I mean, Spiker spoke about it during the interview before the game. He was here to get revenge for his fallen friends, the two teams that NIP have eliminated so far. And it looks like that revenge will be complete. Yes.
I just want to say that those fallen friends are Ashen on SSG and Ambi on SR, and I coached all three of them on the same team when they were in T3.
Oh, there you go. The small links that we have.
Yes.
I wish I could understand that, but I didn't.
I didn't understand that.
I'll tell you what we did find out during the break. It was hilarious. Someone is basically, I wouldn't quite call it a cosplay because they're put on a shirt, they're bald like you are.
It's a cosplay.
But they appeared up here at the balcony to our left, and I was just like, Tim, look, this is mental. You got a picture of it as well.
I did.
There he is.
I need to get a better picture later on. I'll be out wandering around. Do come and try and
you know what
find
I'm
me.
really sad isn't happening? What I was going to do is if we got to overtime in a given map, I was going to say, Tim, stay quiet, and I'd call to that gentleman to scream the line for us. But unfortunately, overtime does not look to be something we will be getting. We've had NIP had to sit there and just chew on their thoughts for a while, unable to speak during that tech pause. And now they've got to figure it out here, Fet. It's now or never.
There's one thing that you said that I actually disagree with, because NIP just banned Clash. That was the thing that was messing them up. And Wildcard also lose that ban phase because Wildcard banned the Nomad so that they could keep playing Clash, but now it's gone. So the biggest hurdle that NIP had in front of them is now gone. So I think, well, I mean, this is the last round if they do lose it, but if they do win it, it's a good sign that Clash was the biggest problem. If Clash can no longer slow them down, maybe they can bring it all the way back.
The point is it becomes a test now for Wildcard and their adaptability. What they thought was going to happen hasn't happened, so now they've got to flex. They've got to pivot. They've got to go to plan B. They've got to come up with a new answer because they can't play behind the Clash, so it becomes a really important round to see whether they're capable of doing that.
And the new plan might just be the site that we're going to as well, Tim. We spoke about this, we've seen it about half a dozen times now this competition, which feels like an awful lot, to be honest, given Skyscraper hasn't been played all that often. But this is one of those sites that teams can get very, very stuck on. And you're looking at NIP with the attacking difficulties they've had this series, this could be perfect for it.
Yeah, I mean, the site call was absolutely brilliant because you've played against Clash on every other site, so you can make a new plan. Now that they don't have Clash, you haven't seen them play the site, though. But there is a Lurk v Roamer fight about to happen in Geisha. Dash walks away with it, murdering his Brazilian counterpart. He's still alive. How do they deal with him? He's wasting so much time here. If you still want to go for this player, you have to waste more resources, more time. That opening pick has got to sting.
A continued problem for NIP is the lack of trades, and they now are in that situation again, 4 versus 5, because they weren't in a position to be able to support each other. And Wildcard, they can just start playing into the time game a little bit. They've got the extra man. Mira is going to be targeted out by that Deimos, but able to just drop away from danger. No, hits once again, right place, right time, takes down Dash, hits with another. Is he going to be the savior of NIP?
Could well be. I mean, getting fancy in the first place felt massive. To then get 2 back after Dash got pinched out, wonderful stuff. Hates in the right place at the right time. It did take half the round, but surely, Tim, surely we don't see a 4v3 going against them.
I love this from NIP. I've commented on the lack of teamwork sometimes, the way that they're isolated, but they're actually using Deimos in quite a different way. Wizards in the back line, putting the tracks in and just feeding the intel to hits for him to go and chase. Absolutely love that from NIP.
This doesn't feel like NIP versus Wildcard. This feels like Hates versus Wildcard, and this guy really hates NA.
Spiker in for 1, at least getting rid of Hates and taking down the main man of the round. Baby Shark 1v3. We mentioned it before the rehost. He was 1-6, hasn't had the strongest map. That's okay, his team have been absolutely flying. You can't have all 5 putting up double-digit numbers, unfortunately. There just aren't enough kills to go around. But this would be a big one to save for him, especially when we've no tracks left on the Deimos, gives him a chance to be slippy, but even NIP shouldn't be letting a round like this slip away.
No, absolutely not. In a 3v1, they've got to lock this down. Baby Shark is probably going to get this. No, Wizard manager, I would have expected, given that he was walking into Baby Shark's line of sight, that he might lose out that one and leave it up to his teammates, but no, Wizard's actually done a great job there. I kind of commented on it during the round. He's been feeding intel to Hits throughout. Hits has been like a sort of a heat-seeking missile for Wizard. So Wizard just sits in the back line, does the track, and off Hits goes for the kill.
Okay, but the mirror on the VP wall and on the outside of the walls. Okay, both for bomb site. One thing for this off defense, Dash, put some mute gems the bomb site. Probably they're gonna go to the attack and push bomb site. So mute gems for the bomb site for a vertical, and you Shark playing the ward like in bomb site too. Start close to the bomb site, okay? If they do Geisha clear, we help you play the Harry Potter. You can do the Harry Potter stuff with the video. I think it's good. It's fine.
Okay.
Or if it doesn't matter. But I think for T-bomb site, to do the room after the T-bomb site, Shark playing their Ella with the impact grenades. Jake on the room strategy, we're playing the mirror, VP wall and off the breach. So Shark can impact grenade the mirror, okay? And kitchen defense, one last adaptation. Shark, you're gonna play the orcs. Don't reinforce anything on the opposite side. Play orcs. You're gonna hide inside the T. If they do a full clear, you're gonna be there. The last of the daughter reinforce, you guys can do the same. Mute jammers on the T walls and the stuff, okay? One more round, guys. Keep the energy. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. One round.
Now, for very obvious reasons, we don't
Harry Potter
play
for
the
this one,
tag
guys.
timeout in the arena, but do you want to share what you just heard, what you made of it?
Yeah, so a lot of Lagonas basically gave a timeout, basically calling you next 3 rounds in advance. Now, there's a lot of jargon used there because they know the names of their strats. They know their strat book. We're not going to know what they are talking about because they're saying when you run this strat, when you run 3.1, when you run A, B, C, let's do this. And we have no idea what they want to go office strat, they want to put the mirrors down, they want to do a heavy bunker setup. But the thing is, I've heard a lot throughout this tournament that when people hear those timeouts, they're very confused by them and they think they're terrible. I want to make it known to the public right now that that is a very good timeout. Teams need different things, and the public can often better comprehend a timeout that's like, wake up, let's go. Oh, but sometimes a team needs strategy, and that's what I used to do, that's what Igor does, that's what Callout does. It's a different type of coach, a different type of meta, and it's all based off the team's needs. So for the criticisms that people are confused by it, you call the next 3 rounds of Blueprint down in the future. We have an option every round, and right now for Wildcard, they just need to win 1 to close out the game.
It's something that we saw the other day, to be fair, and obviously we've seen a number of timeouts from various teams throughout the event. It's been a wonderful thing that we get to hear. Yeah, Romario, as we heard on G2, speaks very quick, but you look at his players, they're so attentive to everything that he's saying, like, they pick up on all of it as well. So although what you might hear, you think, okay, it's too fast, you can't understand that, or this thing over here feels a bit useless, you're talking about strats or whatever, like you're saying, it often isn't, and you can see the reaction of the players to give you the idea of, is what the coach saying being taken in.
Spiker, this is what was said in the timeout. He's going for a rat play, but the Vigil Scanner is going to make it look like he's still in Geisha. They're clearing out a ghost. They're clearing out nobody because Spiker's actually on the staircase, but it doesn't matter because Dashany was going for a pick off of it.
Just fantasy being fantasy on the Ashy. It's really winding back the years. Charged through and got one, was looking for a second, and somewhat unfortunate not to get it. Spiker, though, there he is. He strikes finally. At least Alec digs up. They know that he's downstairs, but now he can move somewhere else, Tim, and cause further frustration.
That's the problem. If you don't get the kill on him in 10 seconds, he's gone. You've got to start the whole process over again, trying to track that Vigil down, and it all takes time. 4 versus 4. Kansan has taken a ton of damage there on the mirror, so that's something Wildcard need to be aware of. He's in a position where he's going to be fronting up and trying to prevent them pushing into Dragon, and he's in a dangerous position because he's such low health, and it's something that Wildcard are going to need to back him up.
And IP look like they smell water. However, on the drum side of the map, that side does not have a mirror facing them, where it usually should be if there's a mirror on the board. So it looks like with the Sense Grenade, with the Blitz, they look like they could do this push, similar to what Wildcard did in Desperation, but this time with more gumption and more confidence, because there's no util on Wildcard's side besides the Fenrir to stop it. They opted for the Vigil Rat play. There's nothing else to stop this push from going through, and it looks like with the players of NIP grouping up around Drum, they're going to go for this explosion soon.
You got Pino rotating over, of course, on the Sens. Those light screens, incredibly value for pushing in. Warden can't deal with them anymore, so there's a bit to look out for. He'll be on the display window, but if he gets picked off here, that could really spell disaster. They'll have no one able to backstab and do work on the backline of this defensive side. Here we go, though. Smoke's going on down. They're looking to charge on through. Wizard, 2 of those cusses coming in deep, and Cons is going in deep. Wizard getting rid of Baby Shark. Pino in the backline still here, blocking up the sightline from Bay, and this plan should be able to go down.
Spiker has to move, and he has to move now. He's coming across through Drum as Bay manages to pick up Pino. The diffuser is going down, though. Cons throws the shield on his back and manages, no, he doesn't. He takes a bit of damage, so he has to come off that plant, and now Wildcard in a position to fight back, but it's all up to Kansan. Manages to pick one up. 1v3 becomes 1v2, but the plant's going down again, and it looks like NIP might just hold on for another round.
Got to catch the player inside the lounge box to his left, and no, it's Cons to find him on the shield. A great round from NIP. We spoke about, of course, that downtime during the tech pause. We had their own chance to have attack timeout as well, at the same time as it was going on for Wildcard, and it feels like they're starting to find something out here.
No clash, no slowdown. NIP seemed to have figured out Wildcard's win con previously that prevented them from getting the entries that they wanted. Now, NIP are just walking straight on through. Wildcard, what will you do to slow them down? You have to do something. Was it trap ops? Is it Goyo? Is it forcing the lay round and then playing the win con at the end? What is the solution? We'll find out in the next round.
I said coming in, this was going to be a test of Wildcard's adaptability. How they can flex, how they can move around when the plans change in front of them. And the answer is right now, they're not doing a fantastic job of it. They've lost that clash, and as you say, no clash, no party. They're unable to get the last 2 rounds done. NIP now within 1 of overtime. They just need to find 1 more attack. And let's not forget, this is an NIP team that have struggled on the attack, so they are digging deep right now. We talked about their ability to play under pressure, and they're showing it. They're showing that they've got it in the locker.
Yeah, and I would be worried for Wildcard right now going into map 3, because after winning that map winner, it really felt like Skyscraper was their map to take. However, NIP looking like they're back on it. Wildcard, what is their answer? They're going to run traps. They're going to run the Elamine. They're going to run the Fenrir Dreadnoughts. That is their answer with the smokes on the T side. Let's see if it works.
We spoke about it on the last map, Tim, but in all but 1 round, we had a multi-kill stacking up for somebody. 6 rounds so far. In fact, those 7 rounds now we've seen stacking up. Every round there is that new hero. It just takes 1 player to have that moment of magic, that moment of brilliance to see either team over. If NIP win this one, we go to OT. Wildcard take it. It'll be heartbreak for NIP because they've fought back so well.
At the moment, it looks like NIP are going to be shaping up for that office side take. So get themselves into house, office, exhibition, and move across, try and take that middle ground of Shrine, of Drum, and try to push forward from there. There's not too much attention being paid over to Dash, who's currently on black stairs as the smoke. Position that we would expect him for the beginning, but Wildcard do have the opportunity here once they realise to maybe push their line up a little bit and get a bit more aggressive towards that middle ground where the big fight is going to be.
Last time Wildcard purely relied on the Clash to hold that Shrine layer. This time they know they don't have Clash, it'll be taken for free. They're gonna throw all the bodies over here and fight this extremely aggressively. Baby Shark not trying to give it up. However, NIP might have the same idea. They have to play underneath, and oh my god, he's gonna be caught on the angle that was supposed to help Wildcard. It goes against them on the cut. The fall back to site, not successful, they lose one.
I love that from Fantasy as well. Rather than stick and try and get a second, no, Baby Shark was in the area, he immediately turns his attention towards top black, expecting someone to turn up there. And sure enough, Dash has now appeared, shotgun at the ready. It's Fantasy very much sandwiched out a little bit here. That smoke was destined for him. You can see it all ripping off now as well. But Wildcard starting to come under a bit more pressure. Spiker remains the hero, gets rid of Pino. That's the Candela's down, Tim.
Wizard does have an answer though, and that's something again I've mentioned. NIP on trades, they've been so much better the last couple of rounds. Every time somebody drops, a teammate is there with a response and they keep that man advantage. Wildcard are just trying to dig in deep here. They want to get this done. They don't want the extra rounds. It's 3 versus 4, 40 seconds. Wizard manages to get another. That's 2 lost to the player on rappel. 30 seconds and you feel like Wildcard are giving this away a little bit easily.
They've got all the time here with the plant now going down. They're going through a bit early, spraying at the beat cons, going low, but there's a step across from Fantasy. It's a 4v1. Baby Shark can't hold on. Tim, say the line.
We're going to overtime, Des.
Not you, the guy in the crowd.
Wildcard, no Clash, they're just struggling. They gave away the last line that possibly could have won them that round, which is the black stairs control. I think they should have regressed there, but unfortunately for them, they give it up. They get the free plan away to the Montaigne, and they've got to be banging their head against the wall with that limb damage nerf. Couldn't kill the Mountain on the plant right there. Absolutely struggling with the SMG.
And the big problem that Wildcard have got now is they go into overtime, and the way that the bans work in overtime under the new system is that both of your rounds will be played with the full set of bans, meaning Wildcard, they've got 2 defensive rounds and they've got no Clash. And at the minute, no clue how to win these rounds against NIP.
And as you may have seen, as we had that little camera pan across, water now filling the entire stage. Both teams at peril because we're in OT. You feel like the tide is with NIP. They're the ones that have had for a few rounds now a lot of success on the attack. They start here on the attack. Surely they can fight through and take us to map 3.
I was wondering why the admins were wearing like the water boots.
We've got to keep them dry. We've got to keep them dry.
I didn't expect it to be real water.
What did you call them? The walking boots?
Oh, the water boots. I don't know what they're
bellies, mate.
My fault. I'm sorry.
What do you call them in America?
I don't know. I've never worn them. Rain boots?
Rain boots?
I don't know. I'm an idiot. I'm not. Don't group me in with the Americans. I'm just
take you for what you are, mate. Take you for what you are. Okay, then it's going to be off towards the east side, exhibition and office to kick things off in OT. Wildcard definitely scrambling here to find an answer. Very similar lineup, if not the exact same one that we saw them employing previously. It was when Spiker got away with a freebie on the downstairs, if we recall, and then disappeared back into the map. Started trying to create more and more problems for them, and they did manage to choke NIP out. However, NIP have seen this before. They will have a response.
But what do you see here that Wildcard are trying to do differently? Because something's got to change.
They're just running the same default in my eyes, and I really don't see any response from them. They're putting Spiker back in that Geisha kill box. Last round, they tried to fake it out by having his sensors coming from downstairs instead of upstairs, making them clear out a ghost. Now he's there for real. NIP, they have the Montaigne push, no Clash to counter it, no Legion Mines, no Malusis, nothing to slow it down, no Goyos, no nothing. And the sense to block off the line of sight, it looks like this guy's dead to rights.
Surely he should be here. Baby Shark, of course, are dancing around Geisha at the same time. Has got Pino out and Terrace behind him. Not going to have the angle immediately. Wizard off on the rappel towards the far side. So it is this focus on getting the full west side clear done out. The important part for me, Tim, is let's not be losing players like we did last time around. You've seen this before. You should know what the points are where you got tripped up.
Yeah, it feels like Wildcard are gambling a little bit on a player having a big moment and getting those couple of kills, and that might be just the kind of moment they need. Baby Shark stepping around that breach there, getting aggressive, taking the fight to NIP and getting an entry kill. That is really big. They've struggled on the defense so far to give themselves the advantage. They are set up beautifully. defensively here, but the pressure will mount onto the mirror. Baby Shark tries to find, but can't. And here come NIP does.
They snap those jaws, shot and catch too, but Spiker still going here. Has got himself another. Kansan collecting one for himself too. Just like that. That NIP tide, it's starting to wane, Tim. It's falling away as Kansan is going massive. Finds himself all he needs to put themselves on match and series point.
When you have no strategical answer, swing them.
Kills.
Yeah, and they fixed their mistake from last round where they chose to fall back, give up Black. This time, we don't want to give up the first layer. We don't want to give up Geisha. Everyone, go together, power together. 3, 2, 1, stop them in their tracks. That's our answer. Get wicked with it.
So now we flip to the other side. NIP will be on the defense. It was a 3-3 half, so no major kind of inherent advantage to anybody. Wildcard did impress us in the first few rounds on attack, particularly with that playstyle of aggressively going in, taking ground, finding kills, and putting NIP on the back foot. Can they match that energy here? They've just played the perfect round, really, in round 13 in order to do that. As you said, Fet, they've played that high-energy defense right up in their faces, and you feel like they just need to carry that forward now and just sweep them away.
Attack being the better side. Well, not the even side, but the better side for Wildcard historically in this match, as at least it looked like, considering Clash was gone on the defense in the second half. Now with all the tools ready to go.
1 for 1 on this one overall with how things set up. It was NIP who managed to lose it out the first time. The second round, it's Wildcard who came away on top in very dominant fashion. And then the next time it was Spiker getting a 3K, but not enough to convert the round. They were the only kills that were found by Wildcard on that attack. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, Tim. Someone's got to break that deadlock in this little mini best of 3 on this site itself.
It's a mirror matchup, strategically wise. You see the same thing. Vigil in this Geisha box. Reinforced walls behind him. Scanners on. However, Wildcard have something they don't. They have range hard breach. They can go to the Karika window and open up the wall from the rappel. But do they even want to clear over from that side? It looks like, at least from where the bodies are distributed, that's what they want to do.
Going to be the pressure coming in towards that Geisha position immediately. The mirror window has been smashed out just to remove that intel a little bit, but it gives intel in itself because they know that Wildcard must be present out there and looking to push. We can see, in fact, that NIP are getting right up towards. They're going to bandit trick that wall now, try and prevent any breaching coming in. Shouldn't be too much of an immediate problem, of course, with the Thatcher on side. That's going to do the job, and the Geisha wall will open 1 minute into the round. Wildcard progressing nicely.
I made a very large mistake. They don't have an actual range heart breacher. They had it available, but because they don't have it, Fantasy just gets to stay here. That's the biggest problem. The Buck has to be able to clear him out from underneath with the Buck charges. Otherwise, they'll make no progress in the round. They haven't cut off, though.
There's 3 of them underneath. The player on the Geisha window, 1 top black. They are everywhere, but Wizard has got Spiker, and that means there is no 1 top black to watch Fantasy. He's been able to escape and get out to drum here, but Dash finding coming up main stairs. Fantasy arguably taking off a little bit more than he can shoot him.
He sees the man, but he cannot find the kill as it's Hates once again standing tall for NIP. He's had such a big game for them today and continues to do so. Finds the man and just prevents that onslaught that was starting to build from Wildcard. 4 versus 3, NIP settling back towards site.
This is one of those sites that is just so incredibly hard to execute now across if you have man disadvantage. There's so many corners, again, that you could sit in if you're a defender. So many crossfires to hold. And on top of that, all the walls are closed. No hard breacher in sight. 1 can opener, but they're not going to be able to get to that, or they're not going to be able to get every single wall open to clear out these positions. But they might have something here on minibar.
Hates again, he's just that guy. He's always involved. He's always causing problems. He's always getting away by the skin of his teeth. Starting to bear down, Tim, but we're in the last 30 here. Wildcard, got to get a wiggle on.
It's a little bit of a standoff. Wildcard, they don't want to be aggressive. They were punished last time. They tried it from this position. Cons manages to pick up A, 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2 as the trade is there. But Baby Shark is down, and that's it. We're going all the way to 15, Fet.
Oh my God.
What about me?
You're old news, Des.
We're going to 15, Des.
We are, yeah.
Who would have thought?
You're stealing it away from me now, see?
They switch up so fast. It's okay, you can have my stream. I'll give it to you after this. But oh my God, who would have anticipated this would be the match to be so incredibly exciting to watch down to the last wire? I know.
No chance, right? It's crazy the comeback we've seen from NIP. playing so well in the second half and into OT, but this is where it all falls apart. This is where everything is decided. The NIP stay, do we go to our third map, or the wildcard get that 2-0 that it looked like they were so certain to get back when the scoreline was 6-3. Barbecue and Kitchen going to be where we go to, and as we've seen, both teams I think have struggled at points, Turfet, with trying to clear too much of the map.
Now, it's not shown on screen yet, but there's a little operator pick that Wildcard have done right now.
Didn't they speak about this during the timeout?
Going to be very, very strong.
You can say what it is, mate. Go on.
Okay. They picked Oryx. All right, and Oryx is going to be the counter to the Montaigne, whereas previously Clash was. Now, I believe there was one push where Montaigne kind of pressured the map by himself. Clash matched him the entire round, and that's how they won. With no Clash available, unfortunately, they're not able to match the Montaigne now, but now they have a Oryx to do it to try to counter him out. The only issue is if they do a full push with the Montaigne, you can't really go for a solo kill.
And I think that's the important point there. The Oryx, there's two things that Oryx I kind of look at as kind of high fantasy, and that is Oryx up a hatch onto the flank to get a kill, and that is smashing down a shield and getting the kill. And it's rare that we see those counters, but it could be huge if they're able to deliver it. And like you say, playing into the fact that Monty has pushed solo previously, it's definitely a matchup to be watching closely.
Entry, straight into tables. Fantasy's in. Fantasy's in.
It's always the
Gets
entry.
Out. That's so much pressure. The worst thing in the world that can happen is a guy getting in kill and just leaving. Because now, how do you respond? Do we move around? Do we respond? Do we go kill him? What do we do? Do we move too much to give away the picks? No idea. Wildcard, stay steady, stay put. No overreaction for them.
Well, there's three of them stacked up on the Shrine balcony here as well. They want to push in. I wonder if Baby Shark is the player they're watching, because you were saying about the potential for the Monty to be alone and be punished by that. But as Tim said, it's high fantasy. It's all the things that we would love to see, but teams don't let that happen. Starting to push forward here as well. Con still asking questions on towards that top door. C4 out towards the window. Spiker not quite finding his man here. And NIP still with tons of time to work with in this round.
Montaigne close up on Black Door, but so is Oryx. The issue is here, you have a player behind the Montaigne that can easily get the frag onto Oryx before Montaigne can go down. It'll be a trade for a trade here. 2v2, top Black to determine the match. I think the most important engagement of this entire map.
Baby Shark just clearing the path for himself, taking out those track stingers, trying to get himself some opportunity to get anywhere near that shield, but as it is, it's going to be Dash on the mute that is getting bullied by the Monty right now, but keeping him at bay, because NIP, they cannot push in until they've cleared this position hits. He takes a lot of damage off screen, and that is a massive kill. Cons takes a big risk, and it doesn't pay off.
I mean, they had the Oryx cut off from the mute, but unfortunately for him, he ADS before his teammate was even there. But they're going in!
They're getting away with this one as well.
Happening.
Down to a 2 versus 3. NIP really fighting with scraps now to get the way back in. Diffuser is down, top Black covered by Dash. You're looking at the Monty here and thinking, why take the challenge at that point? He may have cost his team. Dash down his backside as Wizard. He's waving that magic wand against him and starting to swing things back.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
30 seconds left to go. Wizard looking to push forward here. He needs to find something. The clock is against him. Baby Shark, Spiker just sitting back, letting the round develop. Baby Shark is a mile away, actually. This could be a problem. They are pretty separated. There is the opportunity for 1v1s, but the focus for Wizard is, of course, towards site. 15 seconds left. Baby Shark holding a long angle will catapult Wildcard into the next round of the Munich Major.
Let's go NA. Let's go NA.
That's the revenge they were looking for over NIP. You heard Spiker speaking about it during the interview. A little bit of revenge for his fallen friends, but onwards they go, and NIP out of the tournament, Tim, but still a great run for them. Better than we've seen from them in a number of years.
They have battled hard over their last couple of matches, taking out two NA juggernauts along the way. It's been a great performance from them, but you felt like they were maybe just coming to the end of that run, and Wildcard, they make sure it's the case.
Wildcard have been so impressive with their adaptations. It took a little bit of a while to figure out what to do without the Clash, but they figured it out. Get aggressive. That very last round, the site was below, but everything happened to that top floor. It's crazy that they stayed up there to get in their face, not give the control to NIP, and shut them down.
It's truly wonderful stuff. Of course, they move on, and we'll have some stiff opposition to face later on today. But take nothing away from either side. We have seen some great siege there. After that first map, I was very worried for NIP. They battled their way back in and gave us an excellent Skyscraper to close.
I was really worried about that position for Baby Shark at the end there. He dropped so deep, he was way back in delivery, but it was just a great position, a great understanding, and Wildcard able to get themselves.
Well, let's throw over to Ian down the stage to talk to our winners.
Oh, sorry, me and Spiker were just having a little bit of a chat ourselves there. As you can see, we are getting washed away. We're nice and dry up here, but another Brazilian team isn't. They are drowned out, and Wildcard live on. And I'm standing by here with Spiker. What a performance from you personally, and you got revenge for your boys in NA.
Of course, I had to get it back for my boys, Ambi and Ashen. Teamed with them like 3 years ago. Those are my boys. Had to get it back, and I couldn't do it without my team, honestly. They trusted my voice. Everybody was calming, made it so easy. It was a great team game.
You needed that teamwork, and you needed that calm energy, especially on the end of that second map. Got a little bit scary in overtime.
Yeah, I definitely got too close than it would. I think we made a couple like setup errors in our last 3 defenses. Definitely should have gone to OT. We just need to tighten up, and I think the rehost kind of messed with our mojo a little bit. People came back a little slow, so we should tighten up for the next game against G2 later tonight, and that's all.
Yes or no, are you going to beat G2?
Of course.
Should we go swimming?
It's a little, I don't know, it's November. It's a little cold.
All right, we'll stay up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. And of course, we'll be back with our post-match very soon to explain to you why Wildcard's attacks on Skyscraper were key to win this game. NA team making it further here in the playoffs. Will it be lower bracket? Now, we'll talk about the attacks, but one really important thing as well. We'll talk about NIP making a crucial mistake on their attacks that allowed Wildcard to come away with many rounds.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit of mistakes here, especially when you look into the ban phase. Not getting rid of the Clash, you just see how punishing it is that Bay is absolutely abusing the fact that they can take full advantage of this Clash, play outside the map. Obviously, with the new update to Clash, this is now possible. And to be able to further it, it only extends the reason as to why we see NIP being so slow on attack. The lack of prep going into this is removing the Bandit, removing the Cave. Why not get rid of the Clash? Why not get rid of the Azami? Make Wildcard not find comfort on their defenses, and that is exactly where NIP faltered going into the ban phase.
Even if you don't ban it out, at least bring the utility to deal with the Clash and the Azamis. That was something that they didn't do, and it really lacks in the preparation that they brought to it. And again, we saw it in map 1, the same thing with preparation for NIP. They were constantly getting the opening kill and then leaving it in the hands of Wildcard to consistently get multi-kills back. Round after round, every single time that NIP had the advantage, they could not help themselves from over-peaking and letting Wildcard have a leg back into the match, and that was the biggest issue. Specifically, once you got the defenses, that's where NIP struggled on converting their opening kills, because Wildcard could just stall, play their time off of the Clash. Once the Clash was banned, we saw the Mira. We saw different operators that they could bring to slow NIP down, and the casters talked about it, specifically Fett. He did a great job at visualizing that that was the game plan for Wildcard, is slowing NIP down.
And I'm so glad that when we look at the stats as well, the players on the side of Wildcard are relatively close to each other. It was different players that we were highlighting all throughout these maps as well to really step it up. But on the side of NIP, they'll be gone from the tournament right now. The underdog run ends here.
Yeah, it does. You know, I'm really sad because what we saw from Hates in round 6, that big clutch for everyone in Fox, we know this as players. When you're in this moment, when your backs are against the wall, game isn't looking in your favor, it is on one player to step up and have that moment. And Hates had so many rounds throughout this series, especially in that Skyscraper, that everyone started to get the momentum, started to bring it back, which is why we saw this even go to the last and final round. It's unfortunate that Hates put all that effort in to just merely not be able to make it and drown in the end.
And it's unfortunate because we highlighted how well Cons has been playing and leading the team up until this point. So for him to have an underperforming game and the shields not work out for him, I would have loved to have seen him drop the shields and then rotate to more utility-based operators. That's what Wildcard did, and they came out with the win.
Yeah, and just with that, it's our